what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Fuck. Clean week's over, folks. Radio Baloney Live, clean week is over. We did it last week. It was punishment for you guys complaining that I was being too vulgar last week. But now it's over. Now we're back to normal again. Everything's fine. Get the children out of the room. That's what's happening. All right. Who got the first like? That's first order of business. Rosie got the first like. That's double good karma, folks. Double good karma. Everybody understands. Everybody knows that we're streaming on Rumble. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on X. We're streaming on Locals. And the first like on any of those gets you double good karma. It's not just one good karma. It's two. You could have as many as 8. In these troubled times, that can't hurt. That's all I'm saying. Let's see. So who we got in here? We got Rosie, Chef Rico, Nevada, Izzy. How you guys doing? Good to see everyone. All right. So Sunday, I apologize. I could not do the live stream, but it was a hellacious weekend. It included 16 hours at a hospital. Wasn't me. I was there for somebody, and everybody's fine. Don't worry. Everybody's fine. Everything's completely back to normal. No problems. The world is back as it should be. But I did spend 16 hours from like 8 o'clock on Saturday night until I think I got home at 2:30, 3 o'clock on Sunday. And I'm telling you, you don't get much sleep on those little chairs in the room next to the hospital bed. So, yeah, I was cooked. That's what young people are saying now. Cooked. I was cooked on Sunday, so I could not do the show. And then I was very busy again yesterday, but I did finally have a good night's sleep last night. So everything's back to normal. Everybody's fine. The world's back as it should be. These little scares happen in life. That's just life. And now we can get on with it. Get on with it. All right. So now what are we doing? Let's see. Let's go through the chat a little bit here. I've got a new weather channel for the show while we're checking out the chat and our little breaks. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Chef Rico says, let's go. All right. Let's see. Something about ... I don't understand what that is. Nevada got third on like. So I tell you what, third, I'm feeling very generous. So I'm going to say 1.25. 1.25 karmas for you. That's an extra quarter of a karma. All right. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Who got number 2? Who got like number 2? I don't know. It doesn't say. But whoever got number 2, that's 1.5 good karmas for you. Because we're very generous on this channel. Let's see. Chef Rico says, quiet, I'm watching the weather. I love the Weather Channel. Rosie, did you have a new baby? No, I did not. It was not that kind of thing. It was something else. It was, not fun. Not fun. But everybody's okay and everything's good and the world is back to normal. So let's see. Nevada says Romania, Spain, Bosnia. I know. They have great weather there in those places. Excellent weather. All right, but now what's happening? Now what are we doing? That's the question. I guess we'll go through the menu and just see what topics we're going to be talking about at length tonight. First off, the Sydney Sweeney thing is just hilarious. It reveals so much about the modern left and their just hatred of beauty. It's really astonishing. So we're going to go through that. And we're going to go through some stuff on the Russia hoax, which is a story that's not going away. That's going to continue now. The investigation into the Russia collusion hoax. We've got the media. We're going to spend just a minute on the media is not your friend. It's your enemy. And they CNN showed that with that shooter in New York. Is this real? Is this fake? We're going to decide. What else we got? We've got Woke Canada. So, and we're going to talk about the double standards in Canada, which is, common throughout the Western world now, depending whether something is a leftist lunatic, whether it's a bunch of leftist lunatics doing things or just normal people. There's a double standard. We're going to talk about the Trump tariffs, how that's going for Canada. Not good. We're going to talk about, yes, here's a bit more. Here's Keir Starmer's brain malfunctioning, talking about immigration with Trump, because Trump's taken a very different path than a Keir Starmer ever would or ever want to. What's this? Woke mind virus. You know what? I've got this one in the Sydney Sweeney thing. But we're going to talk about some woke mind virus stuff. Everybody loves that. Everybody loves that because it's hilarious and weird and it makes you angry. And then we've got this last tab, which is a bunch of stuff mixed up. It's animals and drug addicts and all kinds of things in comedy. And there's Bill Maher in there. And then there's dogs that want to go on vacation with you. There is tons of stuff. There's Jesse Lee Peterson, who is just always worth your time. Always worth your time. He's hilarious. All right. Let's get back to the chat for a second. Now what's happening? Now what's going on? Let's see. Let's see. Nevada says, why doesn't Vegas have a dancer? Are you talking about weather person, meteorologist? I believe they're called meteorologists. I noticed in like Italy and Spain and Romania, they have hotter meteorologists than we do locally. I don't know why. Let's see. She has great genes, as he says. Great genes. All right. Now what are we doing? So yeah, now American Eagle is a fascist company, apparently, which is hilarious and stupid and retarded. But it exposes so much about the modern left. Let's see. Rosie says, out walking, sun going down, 83 degrees. Sounds very nice. Humidity almost 80%. Feels like walking in a bath. That's a bit much for me. That's too much for me. Did Alberta make a trade deal with Trump? No, Alberta can't make a separate trade deal. I haven't seen any talk about that. Alberta can't, make their own trade deal with Trump anyway. But let's get on to the start here. So hold on, let me just refresh this. So let's just take a look at one of these ads first, right? We'll take a look at these ads and see what we think. Oh, where's the volume? Okay, here we go. Oh, no volume. All right, hold on. Back to the start.
Sydney Sweeney has very canes.
So for me, I don't see what's not to like. It's just like, it's fun. It's got like a cool classic car. To me, it's very wholesome. She is very kind of wholesome and in the sense that she's not like a rail. She doesn't weigh 95 pounds. She actually has a woman's body. She's not wearing tons of makeup. Of course, she's got some subtle makeup on there, but she's not plastered with makeup. Look at her hair. It's kind of like that, the hottest girl next door kind of thing. And there's a bit of nostalgia in there. I find the whole thing just entirely wholesome, quite frankly. It's just nice. I mean, wholesome compared to, what passes for culture now for the left and what's been passing for culture in like corporate media. Here's another one. Let's check this one out.
My body's composition is determined by my genes. Hey, eyes up here.
Sidney Sweeney has very keens.
Okay, a little cheeky, little cheeky. Let's see, nothing anti-civilizational though, which I really like. So much advertising has just been anti-civilization, in my opinion. Let's check this one out.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sidney Sweeney has very keens.
Okay, so I guess that's the eugenics part. That's the Nazi medical experiment part, I guess. I don't know. Like, that is supposed to pass now for Nazi propaganda. That. I think that it's just like a pun, right? But apparently this, I mean, she's blonde and she's got blue eyes. Nazi! That's enough. Really what it comes down to is that the left just doesn't want her to exist, I think. I think that's the main point. They just don't like her existing. And feminists don't like her existing. Let's see. They like this. So this is what they want to see because they hate beauty. So this was a Calvin Klein ad from what I think it was 2018 or something. So this is what they want, right? So when you see this, you just think, ugh, ugh. It feels like decline of Western civilization, does it not? There is nothing healthy about this. There's nothing aspirational about this. This is just like society is failing. Right? This doesn't feel, there is nothing aspirational. There's what portion of the population looks at that and goes, that's me. I want to be that. What portion? I'm going to say it's
small fringe minority.
That's just my opinion. Let's see. What else have we got? Hold on. Let's see some more ads. Some more of the ads that we're not seeing as many of these anymore. So here's another one. I am possible. Impossible is nothing. So I guess it used to be like if you work really hard, you can achieve anything. And for this, it was just if you just eat. Like, what is possible? Like, what is the goal here? Exactly. Like, is it? I don't even understand. Impossible is nothing. Well, what are you doing? You're just fat. This person's just fat. This person just obviously doesn't exercise a lot and eats too much. So, yeah, I mean, that's not like nobody would doubt that it's possible to be morbidly obese if you just keep eating enough. It's not this. The Sidney Sweeney ad is not this. This is also weird, right? This is like, what is this? The Hunger Games? It's dystopian. Here we go. I speak my truth in my Calvins. And what is the truth exactly? The truth is, she's either got diabetes or it's coming. Here, Calvin Klein hires pregnant man for new campaign. This isn't aspirational. Nobody sees that and thinks, I want to be that. Right? Women will see this and go, yeah, okay, I know men like that. So I want to steal some of her magic. Nobody's looking at this thinking, I want to steal some of that pregnant man magic. Nobody's thinking this. And let's keep going here. Again, this is not aspirational. Like, women aren't going to look at that and think, I want some of her magic. Like, nobody's looking at this woman and saying, I want to look like that. They're just not, right? And this is not, of course, it's diverse because everything had to be diverse, but it's not a racial thing. Like Naomi Campbell, massive model, massive star. No man ever complained looking at Naomi Campbell, right? Or Tyra Banks in her heyday, right? Nobody ever complained. This is just a leftist thing, a far left ideology thing. Let's see. I want to go down a little bit more. Okay, so the media, of course, and it's just so strange. I keep saying that none of this is grassroots. It's all top down. Outrage like this, outrage about Sydney Sweeney. Now it turns out she's a Nazi because jeans ad and these jeans. Yes, she's a beautiful woman. Obviously, she's got great genetics. In a sane culture, this ad would not offend anybody because everybody would go, yes, everybody has genetics. She has great genetics. There is absolutely no connection between the Nazis' eugenics programs and American Eagle. In a sane society, everybody would laugh at the accusation that this was somehow fascist. That's insane. What it is that it's not gross. It's not ugly, right? It doesn't herald the end of Western civilization. It doesn't make you feel bad or dirty or gross for living in a Western country, for living in the United States or Canada or UK or wherever. It makes you think, actually, things are pretty good. Actually, this society is actually okay. This is like this is a good society where things make sense. This is starting to make sense. Nature is healing again. Right? That's the problem with this. They don't want her to exist. The left does not want her to exist. And again, it's not even a grassroots thing. This is top down. This is the ideologues at the top. American Eagle sparks backlash for touting Sydney Sweeney's great genes. Backlash from who, though? Backlash from who? It starts out in the media. Media creates a panic, and then you just have a
small fringe minority
on TikTok that freaks out. Let's see. Philabonte says, I'm starting to think the issue is the left just hates white people. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? It makes you feel like they just don't want beautiful, blonde, blue-eyed women to exist. MSNBC, what do you think their take is on it? And Wokeness says you don't hate the media enough. Why? Why would he say that? Let's see. Sydney Sweeney's ad shows an unbridled cultural shift towards whiteness, which you got to remember, that's a bad thing, right? Being white is bad. Advertisements are always mirrors of society, and sometimes what they reflect is ugly and startling. They don't use words to communicate. They use words to manipulate. There is nothing ugly and startling about this. Absolutely nothing. Their concern is that this ad campaign is a sign that perhaps what the left what wokeness has been providing, which is ugly and startling, is being replaced with sanity again. That's the concern. That's why they hate her, because she's displacing some of their ugliness. All right. So what are they saying? Let's take a look at this. I mean, it doesn't really matter. This is just gibberish on, TikTok, but let's take a look.
This woman is a cautionary tale. And when she's done,
by the way, irony alert,
offering herself to be used up by some of the most vile among us, she will too become red meat.
So they paid her an enormous amount of money to do an ad campaign, which I'm guessing nobody has paid this woman an enormous amount of money to do an ad campaign. So therefore, it's not fair, and Sydney Sweeney's wrong, and everything's bad and evil, and it's society's fault.
Like so many other white women greater than her have done before. But before we even get to how she is revealing herself as the poster child for pick-meism, that brain-eating disease, let's just get into...
It's like a fantasy world. This is a fantasy world that's been built up for these people by insane race communists. It doesn't make any sense. Let's see. What's this lady saying? I think this was posted by Oli London. Let's see what this crazy lady is saying. And I'm going to guess that it's not sane at all.
Don't forget to boycott American Eagle for their racist shit online. talking about blue.
Look, you can do as many of these TikTok videos as you want. Men are going to continue to notice that Sydney Sweeney, men are going to continue to notice that Sydney Sweeney is in a different universe of hotness than you, that you're not, she is, right? Men are going to continue to notice that Sydney Sweeney is hot and very pleasant to look at, because that's just how the male brain works, unless somebody's gay. But even they notice, right? Everybody notices. Her brain also notices, because women are constantly rating each other. All humans are constantly rating each other, I should say. I don't want to do a sexism here. But men are going to continue to notice that Sydney Sweeney looks great. You, not so much. Let's continue.
Jeans and white people, boycott American Eagle. Boycott the shit out of them. Boycott American Eagle. Do not buy them. And cancel this person, Miss Sweeney. Cancel for her being racist, for doing Nazi propaganda.
Nazi propaganda. Like, do they actually believe it? Or is it something they just want to believe? That's the question. So is she fully parasitized yet? Is her mind fully parasitized by the idea pathogen? That's the question I ask. Is she just pretending to go along with it? She just want to believe it? Or has she been fully infected by the woke mind virus, no longer has any agency, no longer has any free will, and just simply is a slave to this idea pathogen? I'm not being facetious. I mean it. That's the question. I don't know. Only she knows, I guess. Let's move on. So what's this dingbat saying? What is this goofy dingbat saying?
See a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman and think that is an all-American woman, that is the exact problem with this advertisement. This campaign and Can
I just ask, what are blonde-haired, blue-eyed women supposed to do exactly? Well, actually, I think I know. They're supposed to apologize. They're supposed to sit down and shut up and apologize, and apologize for all of the crimes that have nothing to do with them or aren't even real. I guess that's what it is. They don't want a Sydney Sweeney in an ad, period. I don't think. Like, they just don't like that. They don't like her.
campaigns like it are saying this is an American beauty. This is the standard. This is what we're looking for. So we have an ad featuring.
So they're accurately describing reality. And obviously that's going to be a big problem for the left. Big problem. And by the way, she's jealous, obviously. Let's see. What does this say? SKS cartoon. Calling Sydney Sweeney and her American Eagle campaign fascist or Nazi means nothing because woke is dead. Well, let's see. Let's see. If you like that, you're a fascist, says the horrific looking leftist woman. Dad, I think I'm a fascist. Yeah, maybe they ought to be careful with all this rhetoric, huh? Let's see. What's going on here? So here's another one who is not Sydney Sweeney, who is never going to get an opportunity to make a ton of money by doing an ad campaign for anybody who wants to sell anything.
Should we be surprised that a company whose name is literally American Eagle is making fashion?
Oh my God. The company's name is literally American Eagle. That can only mean that they're fascist, I guess.
Just propaganda like this? Probably not, but it's still really shocking. Like a blonde-haired, blue...
I mean, American Eagle, it could be Roman propaganda, right? Could be. I mean, who knows? Who knows how deep this goes?
Blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes. Like, that is Nazi propaganda. Should we be surprised that a company...
Good Lord, it's the desperation here. Look. You're fat. Just get over it, okay? Just get over it. Are the Nazis in the room with us right now? I think the answer to that, if the
small fringe minority.
who actually buy this, who actually buy the top-down propaganda that they get from the mainstream media and from, leftist politicians. With them, the ones that are genuinely parasitized, their brains have been genuinely parasitized. They do see fascism everywhere. The Nazis are in the room with them. Anybody could be. Their family could be. Their children, their parents, their sisters. For everybody might be a Nazi at any given time. Let's see. What's this lady saying? And this is not going to be weird at all.
Since Sydney Sweeney decided to do that little ad she did, I want to find some alternatives to Aerie. I really need new underwear, so if anyone could give me some recommendations, that would be great, because I do not want to support that mess.
That mess. Which mess are you talking about? Which mess are you talking about? Are you talking about this mess? Do you not want to support this mess? Huh? You don't want to support this mess right here? They have to really genuinely twist their brains into pretzels to keep being leftists. Like criticizing, pretending that you think this is Nazi propaganda. Like Leni Riefenstahl's granddaughter came and directed this. It's not going to make you more attractive or better looking or more competitive with a Sydney Sweeney. It's just not. It just makes you look like a dummy on social media. Bring this back. Then they'll be happy. They'll all be happy when you bring this back. Right? Just like, yes, Western civilization's done. It's over. Yeah, there's no point, no hope, no point in trying. There's no hope in trying because, nothing's impossible. You too can be morbidly obese. I am possible. Yes, anybody can get fat. Anybody can become morbidly obese. It is possible. We already knew that. It's not an accomplishment. And that is maybe one of the left's greatest crimes over the last 10 years is trying to convince people, innocent people, that being morbidly obese, for instance, is a virtue, right? It's an accomplishment. It makes you special, right? And just destroying yourself is an accomplishment. That's what gives you virtue. That's what gives you virtue. That is the coin of the realm. So anyway, I guess after all this controversy, which is fake controversy, came out, she posted this. So let's take a look. So, and there's a white horse, of course. He's having some fun with it. I don't know if this is like a shoe commercial or something. I don't know. But, I look at I don't know Sydney Sweeney. She might be a total dingbat for all I have no idea, right? But what I walk away from with this, what I walk away from this with is a sense that the modern left and the narrative creators, the narrative shapers, have decided that they just don't like blonde-haired, blue-eyed women getting a lot of attention because it sends and being in ads that are just kind of unapologetic, like unapologetically American Eagle, right? This is the wrong narrative. This isn't your society is bad, everybody you know is bad, everything is bad, capitalism is bad, everything's racist, we have to tear everything down, burn down civilization, tear down all the statues, tear down history, everything so that we can build up our dystopian, race communist, identity communist hellhole on top of it. That's why they don't like her. That's why they don't like this. It's not ugly. And if there's one thing that the modern left seems to hate the most, it's beauty. And they're expressing it through their criticism. All right. Let's go back to the Weather Channel. Let's see. What are you guys saying? Let's take a look. By the way, this is a great time to suggest that if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe right now. You just go ahead and do that right now. Also, liking the stream is a big deal. Everybody's doing it. Everybody loves it. It's the best thing. People are telling me that they liked the show and their life changed. It turned around on a dime. So I would go ahead and do that. I mean, you don't want your life to turn to garbage, do you? I mean, I wouldn't. I don't want that for you guys. I want you guys to be happy and fulfilled. So go ahead and like whatever platform you're on, like right now, and also subscribe. Don't ruin your life. Let's see. What the heck is going on in the chat here? Let's see. What are you guys talking about? Let's get to Nevada says it was 108 degrees today. That's hot. That's really hot. Probably 15% humidity. So, I mean, at least if it's dry, right? Dry heat. Let's see. Let's see. Chef Rico says, at least it's some Taylor Swift advertising sweater. Oh, it ain't. At least it ain't Taylor Swift advertising sweaters. Yes. And the other thing about Sydney Sweeney, too, is that she actually looks healthy. Like, she's not a rail. She's not super. She just has a classic body that all men like, right? Let's see. Izzy says it's just cope from the left. Let's see. Chef Rico says, you proved your point. Stop showing it. What is that? Sarge calling. Well, what would Sarge be confused by? I mean, everything's totally normal in here. Would Sarge be would Sarge be confused by this?
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Geez, I don't even want to tell you, Sarge. Chef Rico says eating chicken is healthy, but don't eat the whole thing. Exactly. Nevada says the left are retards. What? Oh my God, that's so mean. That's so fascist of you. Let's see. Izzy says, I'm sure those ads produced record sales, record low sales. Well, I think that's why maybe it's changed. Eventually, you have to make money is the thing, right? Let's see. Rosie says, disgusting, man pregnant. What is that? Well, it's not actually a man is the thing. It's I think, kind of sociopathic doctors turning a woman into a kind of a poor facsimile of a man and calling it empathy or something. Nevada says sex sells, not blubber whales, not blubber whales. No, never blubber whales. Let's see. Spambot says, how you doing, Spambot? Compare the share prices of woke companies versus American Eagle. Well, I know that American Eagle, their stock has jumped up quite a bit. So, and it's not surprising. Spambot says, no backlash. My investment is forward-looking. Forward-looking. That's the way you want to be. Let's see. Let's see. All right. The chat is busy, so I'm going to skip to the end here. Let's see. Rosie says, if they had just ignored it, attention would be over. It's like them saying Trump every other word. They promote what they hate. Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? And maybe maybe the people putting the ads together recognize that it was good, and that's why they put in jeans, because they knew they would, the left is insane, and they would totally fall for it, and then create a bunch of attention, and then I mean, look, most people aren't actually very political, right? Like, there's the fringe that gets a lot of attention, but most people aren't. They'll just see that and go, yeah, okay, that looks great. I want some of, women are going to say, I want some of that magic. Not all women, obviously, but they're, a part of the shopping of the consumer populace is going to say, yes, I want to steal some of her magic. I want to try and steal a little bit of that from her. Rosie says, now here's a testimonial. So when I'm not kidding when I talk about the good karma, I hit the like button. The temperature went down a degree. A degree. That's not nothing. Humidity up to 74%. Now it is similar to walking in chowder. In chowder. There we go. And she says, but my life is not trash, at least. Not trash, at least. Well, we're all glad for that. Maybe we could solve global climate change with liking these streams. I don't know. Who knows what it could do? Who knows what's possible? Let's see. Candle Monkey, good to see ya. Is this the place where news is fun? It sure is, buddy. Sure is. All right. Who else we got? We got Bad Uncle Frank in here. He's saying she's a 9. The GT 350 is a 10. Oh, the car. Yeah. All right. Let's see. All right. So let's I wanted to okay. So I just wanted to take a look at some of the headlines here, by the way. So from the New York Post. Yeah, so Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle ad slammed as Nazi propaganda by crazed woke mob over jeans puns. Have these people ever actually seen Nazi propaganda? You have to wonder about that. Let's see. So from MSNBC, Sydney Sweeney's ad shows we already went through this. All right, we did. Okay. All right, so let's move on. Russia hoax investigation. So from Jay Plemons here, the only way to keep the Russia collusion hoax from disappearing from the news is to arrest either Obama, Brennan, Clapper, or Comey. So this is Scott Adams here. And this is Scott Adams. And he's been quite prescient on a lot of issues over the years, especially regarding Trump. And let's hear what he has to say about the Russia collusion hoax and keeping the train rolling. Now, I think that Trump seems to be very, very serious about it. And the people in his administration seem to be serious about it. I think it has legs. I think it's going to keep going. This is not this is not a deflection. This is not bluffing. I think they're going to go all the way. But let's hear what Scott Adams had to say.
So you may have noticed that the whole Russia hoax collusion story should be the biggest story in America, because now, even more than we already knew, we know that I think we know it. I feel like the information is sufficient at this point for me to call it a fact. It's a fact that Obama and Brennan and Clapper and Comey and a bunch of others colluded to overthrow the government of the United States. To me, based on what we've been told by Tulsi Gabbard and what we know from other reporting, I believe that that's no longer in question, is it?
I think that when you just take a look at the timing of those meetings, so, up to December 8th, 2016, the intelligence community reports were that Russia did not influence the election in any meaningful way. Doesn't mean they didn't try. I mean, we heard about the $12,000 in Facebook ads. I mean, obviously that's going to achieve in a national election in the United States where, a couple of $1 billion are being spent. Obviously that's not going to have any meaningful effect. But you had, December 8th, Russia was not able to influence the election. December 9th, meeting with Obama. in the intelligence community heads. And then immediately, there is fake news leaked to the press, and the entire intelligence community apparently is now looking for some justification, whether it's true or not, whether it's real or false. So that's a pretty clear delineation there, right? 8th, nothing. 9th, yes, Russia did influence the election, and Trump had played some part in this. So anyway, let's continue.
Is there even a question about whether those cats I mentioned were trying to change the result of elections or get rid of Trump once he got elected? There's no doubt about it, right? So the question is, why is it not a bigger story? If you're following only the news on the political right, you think it's a big story. But nobody on the political right is changing their opinion about any of it because we already knew. We kind of already knew it, right? But the people on the left who don't know anything about it, and indeed still think that the dossier was real and that Mueller proved there was collusion. If you talk to Democrats, they will tell you that Mueller proved collusion, that Russia tried to help Trump, and that's all there is to the story. They'll have no idea that the worst political actors in our lifetime, maybe ever, pulled off the most despicable coup attempt, and it's just not really something their news is interested in. Now, it makes sense that the mainstream news wouldn't cover much of it. They've all mentioned it, of course. So,
I mean, the interesting thing is that you wonder when they're going to admit that their bias, their partisanship has been laid bare. The fact that they're not trying to inform, they're just trying to manipulate 24/7. At what point they would realize it's been laid bare. Like, okay, now we just because it's so embarrassing, right? Let's pretend to be objective, to pretend to be actual news and not just propaganda. That day's not going to come. The curtain was pulled aside, revealing the man behind the curtain long ago. Right? That curtain has been pulled aside long ago, and everybody could see the man controlling things. And it doesn't matter. The man doesn't care. He doesn't care. Even as the audience shrinks for, like CNN, MSNBC, even as they near, financial extinction, they still don't care. So, anyway, there's your answer, but let's continue.
It's not like somebody's completely ignored it. But they can't really say what's true because that would implicate themselves, and they're already implicated enough with the Biden brain cover-up. Imagine if they go from the Biden brain cover-up to, well, I guess we also covered up the Russia collusion hoax. Yeah, that's the other thing we did. We covered that up. And now they're covering it up again. How in the world can they get away with that? And the answer is because it's a complicated story. All you need is a complicated story with lots of actors and actions, and it goes across time. You combine the complicated story with all of the people on the mainstream media for their own use, their own reasons, so they don't have to be talked into it, minimizing the story and acting like there's nothing there. That's all you need to make it go away. So what's interesting is the only way the story, which is the most relevant story in American experience at the moment, it's the biggest one, but it's totally going away, and the Democrats will succeed in disappearing it right in front of you, and their voters won't even imagine that it matters when they go to the voting booth. Won't even be on on their minds at all. Won't be in the top 20 of things they're thinking about. The only thing that would change that is a perp walk, or actually arresting Obama or Brennan or Clapper or Comey. So, I've said before that normally I'm not too keen on one administration punishing the last administration.
So that would certainly get it in the news, but it wouldn't change the media's response to it in terms of, like, they're not going to suddenly become honest brokers, right? It will just simply be Trump's a fascist, Trump's a dictator, blah, blah, blah. Their audience won't care either. There could be video of the meeting on December 9th with Barack Obama and Brennan and the rest of them, where they just are outright planning a coup against Trump, right? To frame it. They could just be saying, I am going to frame. Barack Obama could be saying, I, Barack Obama, want you people to frame Donald Trump to try and destroy his presidency. And the audience would watch it, and they could play it on CNN, and the audience would watch it, and the commentators on CNN would say, yeah, that's good. It's good that he did that, right? Because you have to understand, the modern left, these are not the old school liberals, right? This is a new left, right? They hate the United States Constitution. They hate free speech. They hate rule of law. They just want to win. They don't care. They would see it as a good thing, as a virtue. They would see this as a virtuous thing from Barack Obama. They just keep saying, well, Trump's a fascist dictator, right? All evidence to the contrary would not matter, right? They would not care. They would be happy that their hero was acting the way that they think that Donald Trump acts. It wouldn't matter to them. It's just winning. Right? I'm telling you, the commentators on MSNBC and CNN that have people on ABC News and NBC News and they would be saying this. Well, they had to stop Trump because he was going to destroy America. He was going to turn America into an authoritarian state. And the audience would say the same. They'd say, yeah. The audience would say that, or some large part of it would absolutely agree. And I'm telling you, in the next election, the Democrats wouldn't lose by 40 points. Right? As bad as Kamala was, as bad as she was, when all the final votes were tallied, Trump only won the popular vote by about 1.5%, was it? Somewhere between that and 2%. He didn't win by 40 points, 30 points, 20 points. They don't care. The new left does not care, right? They are authoritarian. They've been trained to be authoritarian, and it's just by any means necessary. They don't care. They have no principles. It's just about winning. But let's move on. So from Matt Taibbi here. So he's saying, a perfect snapshot of modern news. A former White House flack masquerading as an anchor, interviewing an ex-CIA chief turned paid MSNBC analyst, masquerading as a guest with no journalist in the picture. That is perhaps the best description of MSNBC that I've ever heard. No journalist in the picture.
Tulsi Gabbard, she may be impaired on the ethics front, certainly, but she's not impaired on the intellect front. And so I can only presume that she is
impaired on the ethics front. She just released the government's own papers. So she did. She just said, here, this is what happened. These are their own documents.
Doing this intentionally mischaracterizing, misrepresenting, and lying about what she has found.
Except we've all seen it. So it's just documents. They speak for themselves. Truly amazing. 2 Obama administration liars lying about lying, running cover for a hoax. No journalists in the picture. It's genuinely amazing, isn't it? Gee, I wonder if a guy implicated in it might lie, MSNBC. I wonder if he might go on your air and lie. I wonder. Apparently, it hasn't occurred to them. It hasn't occurred to the. It has not occurred. It has not occurred to the journalists at MSNBC. Let's see. This is one about. Actually, I don't sure if I want to. Let's see. All right, I think that we saw the rest of. Okay, let's move on. Let's go back to the chat for. And actually, you know what? I need to. This is crazy. This is super early. This never happens. But I need to take a break for just a couple of minutes, and I'll be right back, you guys. Well, thank you for your patience, everybody. I was out earlier donating to the poor, and I overheard a couple of nuns talking, and they were saying, I couldn't believe it. They were saying that they heard that there are some people who watch Radio Baloney and they don't subscribe to the channel or even like the streams. And they were saying that those people are human garbage. Nuns said that. Nuns. They said they were human garbage and that God hates them, which I thought was a little bit harsh, but just a heads up out there, heads up. It's so easy. It's so easy just to subscribe and like this. I don't know why anybody would do it. Anyway, what were we talking about? I don't know. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. Let's get back to the chat. Let's see. Whoa, Italy. Turkey. Cloudy with a chance of jugs. All right. Chef Rico says, using that term journalists a little loosely. Some people call them urinalists. Urinalists. Let's see. Now you guys are talking about food. Well, excuse me for interrupting your conversation about food. Rosie says the best comeback for the CNN show you described would be a DDoS attack and replace the CNN stream with American Eagle ads. Oh, nice. No idea how this works. Just a good idea. Well, you couldn't do that with a DDoS. That's just a denial of service attack. But I'm not suggesting anybody do that. I do not promote that sort of thing, Rosie. Just a bad person. Just kidding. Let's see. I don't endorse that sort of thing. Let's see. All right. Well, let's just move on. What are we talking about next? We did Russia hoax stuff. So there was that. Okay. So the guy in New York City who went to the NFL building, but there's also the BlackRock or Blackstone, something like that, building. And let's just hear. So you can see the picture of the guy. They had the picture of the guy, yet they say this. It's like they're just programmed. Like
because whenever they encounter,
it's like they have no free will. It's weird.
Who he is?
They do not know who he is. They know he is a male, possibly white. He's wearing sunglasses. He appears to have a mustache. And that picture has been distributed to every police officer in.
Like, when have you ever heard possibly black or possibly Hispanic? Like, it's just pathetic. It's embarrassing. We're past all this now, CNN. Really? Even your own viewers are sick of it because they're abandoning you. Just stop. Just stop. Anyway, I don't want to get into that because I just don't want to get into that story, but let's move on. So is this real or fake? So you guys tell me what you think. And then hold on. And then number one will tell us whether
it's a total fabrication.
Or
you're right. It's fact.
So is this real or fake? What do you guys think? Real or AI? Nevada says fact. I mean, there's no reason why animals wouldn't like trampolines, obviously, right? But what do you guys think? Is it real? Could all of those animals be going on trampolines? I guess it's all different places, so it could be happening, and it's obviously different locations. I mean, it looks pretty realistic. And animals do like trampolines. I mean, dogs love trampolines, right? Animals like to have a good time. They like to have fun. What do you guys think? I'm going to reveal it soon, so get your 2 cents in. Rosie says, I think it is a real trampoline. So I'm going to take that as a fact. Anybody else? Anybody else? Chef Rico says agreed. So people are saying you guys think it's real. Should I do the reveal? Okay, I'm going. 3, 2. Chef Rico says fact. 3, 2, 1.
It's a total fabrication.
And I'll show you how I know that. Oh, okay. Well, for one thing, underneath it says that this is an AI-generated video. But also, you can see here, watch this. Watch the ball on the trampoline here. That's the real tell. Watch this. See that? That's how you know. So you know right there. So you guys all got fooled. All of you. All right. That's good. It felt good tricking you guys. Let's see. What's going on here? Oh, what's going on here? Whoa. There's like a whole bunch of new ads here I can do. Wow. Okay. Let me refresh it. Make sure that these are all good to go. Which one can I do? There's like a bunch of new ones here. This is super fun. Okay. So let's see. 11 cents, 11 cents. I'll do the one that pays 23 cents. Because why not? I've never done this one before. So this is this is going to be a brand new ad read. I've never seen this script. This segment is brought to you by Pickaxe, the free speech social media platform that's not run by bots, big tech, or the censorship industrial complex. If you're on Rumble, Pickaxe is your next move. Think of it like if X and Substack had a baby, and not a commie baby, but with more freedom and smarter tools. You can post your Rumble videos directly in the feed, and they actually play in the feed with no algorithms hiding your content. That sounds pretty good to me. I'm going to check this out. Even better, with your new beta feature, you can connect your Rumble channel so your videos and live streams auto post. That makes my life so much easier. I'm definitely checking this out. Plus full article creation, paywalls, revenue sharing ads, and the ability to have your ads on your content with your own promo codes and tracking links. This is getting better and better, people. So you keep full commissions on sales. And yeah, free blue check verification so bots and burner accounts don't hijack the conversation. Or commies. It should be said, or commies. Pickaxe doesn't manipulate your reach. It amplifies your voice. Freedom of speech and freedom of reach. Freedom of speech and freedom of reach. We like both of those. We like them very much. It's beautiful. Check it out now at pickaxe.com. That's PICKAX.com. PICKAX.com. Pickaxe.com. And take your voice back, people. Definitely checking that one out. And J-Ham makes it good to see you, J-Ham. J-Ham makes a great point here. Pickaxe, they have great genes. You know what? We need to just start saying that about everything. Great genes. Let's see. Rosie says, Pickaxe ad, great growls, auto post, such enthusiasm, 10 out of 10. That's almost the most that you can get out of 10, by the way. Let's see. Chef Rico, well done, sire. Thank you very much. Let's see. Looks like Mickey hit the like button like all decent, good people do. Thank you. Rumbum, how you doing? Good to see you. Just in time for a new ad read, though. Winning, exactly. That's what you just heard is what winning sounds like. Let's see. Inconceivable. Late for the stream. It happens. Let's see. What's going on here? You guys are talking about food. Food, so much food talk. That's okay. I had a TV dinner for dinner. So whatever. So I ate pretty good, I guess. Let's see. All right, let's move on. Nevada says, great ad, Richie. Thank you very much. So I'm hoping to do they've only been giving me 2 ad reads the last few streams. But I'm hoping to do more because there's like 5 or 6 brand new campaigns. So that's fun. All right, let's move on. Well, Canada. So from DC Media. So we've been seeing fully illustrated the hypocrisy in Canada of law enforcement, of politicians, of the media, and this has been well illustrated by the insane reaction to that Sean Foyt, the insane reaction to the Sean Foyt tour in Canada. I mean, just to remind you, All of his dates were canceled. I believe the only one that wasn't was Toronto. Because of this, because he's a Christian and he's a MAGA supporter. So why would this be so offensive to leftists in Canada, to leftist politicians, to the media, to the CBC who stirred it all up, all this anti-Sean Foyt, anti-Christian moral panic in the first place? Let's see. Well, there's a Canadian flag there. I didn't see one Palestinian flag or just general terrorist flag. There's not even an ISIS flag there, right? So that should be alarming. That should lead you towards thinking, hey, wait a second, there might be some traditional values at this. That's dangerous to the revolution. That's dangerous to turning Canada into a woke dystopian hellhole. Canyons of mercy so deep I could never. He didn't call for death to Canada or the United States or Israel once. Again, it's terrifying, right? It's terrifying. All these scary people. This is what all of the craziness was over. Let's see. Montreal church fined $2,500 for hosting U.S. Christian singer without permit. So his original venue was canceled, of course. So we performed at a church. There were smoke bombs thrown in by Antifa lunatics who gathered outside. Of course, the mayor is a socialist who hates Christians and certainly hates anybody MAGA, right? That's just fascism for sure. No questions. So anyway, big problem in Canada having a Christian conservative show up. See, these are some of the protesters here. All very orderly. But this is all fine. So Daisy Media posted this. I'm thinking we should organize a public prayer event on Wellington between the PMO and Parliament Hill, but I want to make sure I do it right, like the other groups I've seen here. Does anyone have giant speakers, a rolling scaffolding, drums, smoke bombs, and a bunch of masks? See, this is fine. CBC, no problem with this. Global News, no problem with this. Liberal politicians, no problem with this. NDP, no problem with this. No problem whatsoever. Genocidal chants, no problem.
Protesters have taken Wellington Street, setting off smoke bombs. They've got sound systems and scaffolding in the street here now.
So are they chanting all Zionists are racists? Okay. You see lots of foreign flags, so therefore it's good. That's how you know it's not traditional values, so therefore good in Canada, right? Because let's not forget, the RCMP told us. Where is she? Where is that lunatic? It's down here, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Oh, I want to show you something else that the CBC and that liberal politicians and NDP are not concerned with. Let's see. Child soldiers and child martyrs. They're not very concerned about this. This has been around for ages. I have not seen one mainstream media clip on this. Nothing. No curiosity around this whatsoever.
Kids, some of them 10 years old. I'm sure you've heard some of those clips where a child says, I live to be a martyr. In other words, I live to die. Yes. I live to fight for the sake of Allah. I live to defend al-Islam and the Muslims. I live to defend al-Masjid al-Aqsa. Yeah, there are lots of examples of them. And you know something? It's not just the young boys, the young girls as well. Some of those little girls They are braver than every single one of us put together.
So child martyrs, not a traditional Canadian value, so therefore great. No politicians are worried about this. No leftists are worried about this. CBC, not even remotely interested. It's not traditional values, you see, not traditional Canadian values. So therefore, it's fine. Hold on. One second. There's too much in here. It's the problem. In the Woke Canada bookmark, there's too much. So it makes it difficult to find things when you want to. Here we go. So the RCMP has informed us that what you really need to be concerned about is those traditional values, right? So, don't waste your time. Don't be let's hear from her.
Well, radicalization in general quite often will show by people isolating themselves and changing their behavior, like changing what they're saying on a subject, like becoming more extremist. If someone was very believed in equal gender rights, but all of a sudden are leaning towards traditional values, and that might be a sign that they're becoming more
leaning towards traditional values. And by the way, what does that actually have to do with gender rights? If you want to be a stay-at-home mom, does that mean that you don't want rights? It's such a bizarre, freakish ideology that these people are pushing. It's 99% lies, as a matter of fact. But she's talking about radicalization there, right? I guess stay-at-home moms, right? That kind of radicalization. Not this. Not Palestinian flags, not death to Canada, right? Oh, by the way, death to Canada. Yes, we've got some of that as well. Where is it? Oh, this is not radical either. This public praying, this worship, that's all perfectly fine. In fact, you're a monster if you say anything about it. You're evil. You're a phobe if you say anything about that, right? Forget about that. The RCMP is not worried about that, obviously. Mark Carney's certainly not. He tells us that that's Canadian values. There's one more thing, which I should be able to find at some point. Oh, God. Where is it? I know it's down here. I've got too much. See, Canada's so woke that there's so much. It's actually hard to locate it all. Here we go. Here's some non-traditional values. I guess this is not radicalism. Let's hear.
Do not wonder how revolution could possibly be done. Men who have never known a free day, who have lived their entire lives.
Yeah, revolution. Don't wonder about how revolution can be done. What else is he saying here?
We must do it. Death to Canada. Death to the United States. And death to Israel.
Death to Canada, death to the United States, death to Israel. Not 1 second of mainstream coverage of this. And this isn't just like a one-off. This is just all of it. This is the sentiment behind all of it. This is common. You could go through the crowd on any of these things, which are constant, and ask any of them, and they'll all agree. But this isn't radicalism. This isn't radicalism, apparently. So, if this, let me just do this because I know exactly where I'm going. If this were Christians, if these were Christians, or I mean, we know what happened if they're truckers. If these were Christians, this would be shut down in a second. This would be shut down in 2 seconds. But it's Woke Canada and it's non-traditional values. So, what's this over here? Hold on. What's this over here? Hold on. What is this? Is this one of those child martyrs the guy was telling us about? Kind of looks like it, doesn't it? Kind of looks like it. Canada is upside down and insane, and it's going to continue to be for a while yet. All right, let's get to the chat. Let's see. What are you guys saying? Let's see. JM says, it would be cool if we all bought those jeans and posted ourselves in them. Even the dudes make millions for American Eagle. Everybody that should become a new thing. That should become a popular movement, I think. Let's see. Nwada says, look at that racist with the Canadian flag. The left in Canada does think that. They actually do think it's racist to have a Canadian flag. That's how insane they are. Let's see. Chef Rico says it's a distraction from the failure of Carney to make a deal with Trump. I think that's a really good point, actually, because it was manufactured. The Sean Foyt thing was manufactured. It was not. It's, by the way, it's never grassroots. It's always manufactured from the top. The CBC created an absurd, idiotic moral panic about a gospel singer, about a Christian singer and pastor who has been to Canada before. Anyway, distraction from the failure of Carney. Sure, I have like it. It is totally. It's totally plausible that the producers and Rosemary Barton would be sitting before the show, doing the show planning and decide, we need a distraction from the Carney trade stuff. He's failing badly. We like him. We're going to do everything that we can to support him. We're not interested in informing the public. Let's come up with a distraction. I find that entirely plausible. I think absolutely they're that corrupt. Let's see. Rumbum says, damn stream is stuttering so bad on my end every 2 to 3 seconds. Well, maybe just restart. Just restart it, man. Give it a try. Chef Rico says all the money is moving south and the young professionals as well. That's going to leave Canada with third world migrants and leftist boomers. Yeah, if you're young, of course you'd want to leave Canada. And it's not going to get any better under Carney. I was saying this before the election. Carney is Turbo Trudeau. Carney had been advising Mark Carney since at least 2020. That's when the media wrote up about it. And his fingerprints have been all over everything that Trudeau did from 2020 on. And now that he's in the in the command chair, it's going to be Turbo Trudeau. Now he's totally freed to do what he wants, and it's going to be bad. Let's see. Nevada says, take your bullshit back to the Middle East. I don't know why why did our leaders decide that it was a great idea to bring in, other places on the other side of the world to bring their problems to Canada? I think it's because they hate us and they don't care about us. Let's see. Chef Rico says Christians value life. Well, the Islamists say that they value death more than, what do they say? They say that they value death more than we value life, something like that. Anyway, it's dark. It's really dark. That's what I'm saying. Let's see. Chef Rico says, could you imagine truckers calling for death to Canada? No, because they love Canada. They want to fix it. Let's see. Bad Uncle Frank says, this is a great point. This video reminds me, I have to exercise more. in Romania. That was a pretty good one. Let's see. What it says, Romania, very pretty this time of year. Great weather. Great weather, great jugs. JM says, it's really getting bad in Canada and Europe. Looks like it's heading towards a major clash. Well, Europe, I think, is going to be in serious trouble. I still hold out hope for Canada, but Europe is going to have serious problems. They've been, deindustrializing themselves, although now they've signed that $1 trillion deal with the U.S. for the LNG that Trudeau told us there was no business case for. What a fucking idiot that guy is. Trudeau said the EU came to Canada, Japan came to Canada and said, please, we need your LNG. We can't get it from Russia anymore. Can we please have some? Our countries are being deindustrialized because of this. Can we please have some? And Trudeau said, there's no business case for it. No business case for it. He said this.
I have a slight learning disability.
We know. Now they just signed. Now part of this trade deal. It's $1 trillion worth of LNG. Geez, Canada could use some of that. A bit late now, unfortunately. Now we've got to try and get something on the edges of that if we do anything at all. It's absolutely pathetic. Anyway. But Europe is in a lot of trouble, though. Europe's in a lot of trouble. I think you could see civil wars there, just because of what's happened with the demographics, what their governments have done to them. You could be looking at like civil wars in the future. In the next 10, 20, even in the next 10 years, I could see it, quite frankly. Spambot says, I am leaving Canada without leaving home. Alberta will become its own nation. I think the people who say that, I think the people who mock that idea are, I think that they are not seeing further than their own shadow. I think it's a real possibility. I'm not saying that I agree that it's definitely going to happen, but it's a real possibility. I think it's much more of a possibility than most people, especially people outside of Alberta, say. This country is going off a cliff. Mark Carney is not cutting spending to balance the budget. We know that. He's not doing it to bring down the deficit. We know that because the Prime Minister's or the Parliamentary Budget Office is telling us that it's going to be somewhere north of $90 billion, which is way more than it was going to be under Trudeau. What Mark Carney is going to do by cutting 15% of the federal spending, he's going to take that money and he's going to invest, he calls it, but subsidize companies, green boondoggles, companies that are connected to him, to Brookfield. He is going to max out the credit card. He's going to max out the national credit card, max our debt. Every penny that is saved by cutting the public sector is going to go towards the looting of Canada. And then he's going to leave, and he's going to be very wealthy, and he's going to be more wealthy, and he's going to leave Canada holding the bag and the bill. That's what's going to happen. And when that happens, I think really anything is possible. I think there is a serious chance that Alberta becomes its own country. And it's not like there's no legal mechanism. There is, and it's actually not that hard. Would there be, several years at least of legal issues around it? Yes, but it could absolutely happen. Nevada says Bosnia ain't playing around. They take their weather seriously there, as they should. They have big guns, Nevada says. big guns. Nevada says Mexico got big booty Latina. They do, and we all love them. They're beautiful. And what it says, like AOC, like AOC. It's such a shame that she's a dirty, filthy commie. Let's see. No, what are we, so we did this. We did Woke Canada. Was there anything else in Woke Canada that I wanted to look at? Let's see. I guess not. Let me recharge this. See, was there? Well, there's the liberal voters. Okay. And again, from Ryan Garrettson here, does anyone have any footage of CBC swooping into these countless calls to prayer that have been blocking roads off and on for years, asking if they have a permit? Anyone? That's what I thought. Yeah, these people aren't going to get fined $2,500 or anything, and the CBC is going to be curiously incurious about it. Because the CBC apparently now seems to be some sort of race and identity communist propaganda outlet. Don't care. They don't care. They're not white. They're not Christians. Don't care. In fact, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Blocking off the traffic for their prayers in this obvious display of power, which is what this is. They don't need to. Why do you need to block off busy roads to pray? You obviously don't need to do that. There's more than enough mosques. There's parks. There's all kinds of places. Why would you block off a busy street? It's a display of power. It is a statement that we own this now. This is our land now. We are running the show now. And in your weakness and stupidity and gullibility and credulousness, you can do nothing about it. And we are going to rub your face in it. And that's a rant. That's what I call a rant. But it's true. There's no other explanation for this. And the stupid and the gullible who are terrified of being called a phobe will just go along with it until they're not running the show at all and somebody else is. Let's see. Rosie says power and intimidation. Yes, 100%. All right. Let's see. Was there anything else in here that was rant-worthy? Let's see. All right. I think that's it. Let's get to the Trump tariffs. So let's hear from Kevin O'Leary here. So all of the doomsaying and the apocalyptic projections around Donald Trump and the tariffs have been proven totally false. It's been a massive success so far, at least in the short term. How it ends up long term, I mean, that's still up in the air. But all of the apocalyptic predictions have come to nothing. So I want to hear what Kevin O'Leary has to say now. So he's talking about Trump's new EU trade deal. So, and I believe it's still kind of broad strokes. It's not all of the small details have been dealt with yet, but it's doubtless a big win for the United States and for Trump. Let's take a look.
For them already, the French and the German are whining this morning about this deal or this potential deal. But the only reason they care is pharmaceuticals and automotive. We are so huge to them in those sectors, so huge, so massive, so important that they have to come to the table. And, you know, this is a big deal. And so that's why you're hearing, oh, yeah, well, that's $500 billion here and all that. They're going to move these pharmaceutical manufacturing facilities to the U.S. because this is their market. And so Trump's getting that win. But I don't think we're done yet. I mean, the EU is it's the biggest deal there is.
You're making the case that the headwinds will come from the other EU partners against this deal?
I'm saying the headwinds are in the details. You know, already they want protections against things like automotive in their direction. Oh, we have so many cars. Nobody's buying a Ford 150 truck in Switzerland or, you know, in France. You can't fit them on the street, let alone your driveway. So,
but isn't this the problem with the EU fundamentally? Is that a handful of people make decisions in Brussels that affect all the countries?
Yeah, talking about moving manufacturing to the States, that's why Trump wanted Carney, by the way. It wasn't difficult to You didn't have to be a fortune teller to figure out what's going to happen. Carney is promising, very proudly promising, to impose punishing carbon taxes on Canadian industry, or the polluters, as he calls them, all kinds of onerous new net zero regulations. Uh, Industry is going to move from any industry that can pick up and move right across that border. They don't have to go overseas. They just can go right over that border, that big border between Canada and the US, and set up there. And Trump has told every company in the world, move here, move your manufacturing here, move your headquarters here. I'm going to welcome you with open arms, and we're going to make it a very, very fertile environment for you to do business. He took one look at Carney, and what Carney's plan that he actually told the Canadian people that he was going to do. That's why he endorsed Mark Carney. He's expecting Canadian business to move over en masse. Certainly manufacturing down to the States. No tariffs, he says. Low taxes. Low regulations. That's why he wanted Carney. And it was obvious right from the start. What, you think he really loved Mark Carney? I think that's why he all but endorsed him. Of course, that's what he was thinking. Of course, Trump said he wanted to rebuild that hollowed out manufacturing base in the United States. Carney was perfect for that. Perfect to help him with that goal. And enough Canadians were stupid enough and credulous enough to buy into the fake patriotism of elbows up to do exactly what Trump wanted, to Canada's detriment. So there we have that. But let's keep going. What do we have next? So Mark Nixon, U.S. to the world, 15% tariff. U.S. to Canada, 35% tariff. Elbows up, crowd. This was the plan all along. That's right. Keep your elbows up, dummy. Let's see. What's this guy saying? Young Macro, I'm generally a staunch defender of the economics profession, but the fact that an 80-year-old reality show star and his ragtag crew of like 5 Alabama University undergrads are running circles around 10,000 PhDs for a year now does raise some questions one cannot ignore. Yes, like maybe there's some ideological capture going on, and it's infected every institution and discipline. Donald Trump reaps $50 billion tariff haul as world chickens out. Only China and Canada. China and Canada. Let's see. There's Mark Carney, there's Xi, and there's lots of pictures of the two of them together. Oh, and by the way, Mark Carney got a $250 million loan from a Chinese bank, which only happens if they get the okay from that guy. So, yeah, only China and Canada have retaliated against the U.S. President's tariff war. Nice. Howard Lutnick. So he is the Secretary of Commerce. President Trump just unlocked one of the biggest economies in the world. The European Union is going to open its $20 trillion market and completely accept our auto and industrial standards for the first time ever. In addition, it will purchase $750 billion in energy from us and invest $600 billion in America. Our tariff will be set at 15% across the board. Today is a historic day for U.S. trade and will strengthen our relationship with the European Union for decades to come. And yes, that's also a $1 trillion deal for LNG. So while this is happening, well, I mean, the EU actually did something sane here, right? They did something sane. They didn't go elbows up. They actually did something that makes sense, because this was still better than the alternative. Carney is kind of, in a corner because he's elbows up. That's what got him elected. And they've stirred up so much hatred towards not just Trump, but the United States and Canada. where people are like canceling their vacations and stuff, which is idiotic, that he's kind of painted himself in a corner now. And it's not to the benefit of Canada. We're better off just getting a deal in the short term and then dealing with the USMCA, or some call it CUSMA, in February of next year when that comes up for renegotiation anyway. Michael Schellenberger, Trump's tariff push failed, the media said, but the new U.S.-EU trade deal shows it worked spectacularly well. The U.S. will get 10 times more in revenue from tariffs on EU imports and $600 billion more in direct investment from the EU. Even Trump haters say it's a big win for the U.S. But it's also a win for the EU as well, right? They're going to get the energy they need. That's a big part of their problem. That's probably their biggest problem, actually. That's why, like, Germany has been getting deindustrialized. They don't have the energy. From Brian Lilly, Trump says he has no luck with Canada. Meanwhile, Canadians in the know are telling me that Carney's team is doing a very poor job in the talks. Well, why is that even surprising? They've been doing a terrible job in talks since the Liberals got back into power in 2015. Nothing surprising. His cabinet is still half of Trudeau's cabinet, by the way. So we shouldn't be surprised when it turns out that everything is done totally incompetently. We also shouldn't be terribly surprised that the career bureaucrat, really at the end of the day, at heart, Mark Carney, for all of his sparkling resume, he's really just a career bureaucrat. All right. Let's check. Let's go back to the chat for a second. Hold on. What are we, an hour and 39 minutes? Man, these things fly by quick. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. Mexico, Big Booty Latinas, already been there. Sheep Video, been there. Power and Intimidation, been there. Shefrico, Rant More. I'll try. Tell us how you really feel. Let's see. Nevada says Trump playing like Monroe did. Love it. Great analogy, Nevada, Shefrico says. Let's see. Shefrico says he knew he would destroy Carney, that's Trump, and not do damage to the conservative cause. Well, yeah, he knew that he obviously wanted the weakest adversary. Obviously, like, he's not going to want the best one. He's going to want the weakest adversary. His goal was to basically convince Canadian business to move south, Canadian industry, manufacturing to move south. And he just took a look at Carney, went, okay, carbon taxes, they're going to hate that. Onerous net zero regulations and refitting, that's going to cost billions of dollars. They're not going to like that. Okay, he's the right guy. That works. Trump said that works. This plays into my goals exactly. Elect that guy, Canada. Do it to spite me somehow. I mean, if Canadians look like the stupidest country in the world after that election, it's well deserved. Let's see. Nevada says if Alberta became a U.S. territory, not a state, they would have U.S. protection. The truth is that Canada has U.S. protection now anyway. It's like, obviously, the United States is not going to let anybody invade Canada. That would be a national security threat to themselves, right? And for all of the, Chinese infiltration of the government here, there is a point where it will become too much, where the United States will act out of national security interest, that they will. Out of national security necessity, they would. But, ultimately, all the talk of Canada becoming self-sufficient militarily, self-defense, we're not a big enough economy, really. Like, again, we're a 12th the size of the United States. Yes, we can do much better. We're certainly much better under Harper, even though we didn't have a large budget for the military then. It's just that it was spent on the right things. The entire budget since Trudeau got into office just seems to be, it's been tampons in men's rooms, and it looks like just woke bureaucracies, like DEI bureaucracies in the military. That's been the main concern. The main concern has been ideological. We need the United States. We need the United States protection. It doesn't matter what the Brentford boomers think. Doesn't matter. Elbows up is totally meaningless and absurd. It's just a fact. There's going to be U.S. protection either way. But I take your point. Oh, Rosie's got to drop out. Thanks for being here, Rosie. We'll talk to you later. Have fun with your family. Let's see. Chef Rico says the Second Amendment would apply. They could defend themselves. Well, that would be a definite. But I mean, if Alberta becomes its own country, then I'm pretty sure pretty quickly you're going to get a Second Amendment, something like that in Alberta. Chef Rigo says, also think about all the rednecks that would pour into Alberta to defend her. Yes. Yes. Every freedom-loving person, if they could, would move to Alberta. Rosie says, hey, are you Canadians concerned about tsunami after Russia earthquake? Warning just posted an hour ago. Let's check that out. Hold on. Let's see if there's anything on X about it. Let's do some breaking news. Okay, hold on. Actually, I've got a button for that. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so Russia tsunami. All right, let's see. What do we got? USGS has upgraded the earthquake to a massive 8.7 magnitude. Yikes. The powerful quake struck off the eastern coast of Russia. There is a serious tsunami threat. Japan, Hawaii, and Alaska are on high alert. Story still developing. Yikes. Let's take a look. Wow. So it struck right there, and there's Japan. Okay, so there's Alaska. All right. Huh, okay. Let's check the next one. Let's see the next thing. And actually, let's see what time that came out at. 1 hour ago was that. So this is 46 minutes. A massive earthquake triggers a tsunami, taking thousands of lives in seconds with little to no warning. Oh, God. What's going on here? Whoa. Is this real? Holy jeez. Okay, so that's terrifying. Where is that? Where was that? Okay, what do we got? 11 minutes. Okay. This is 20 minutes ago. The first tsunami waves are now reaching the coast of Hokkaido, Japan, following the massive 8.8 earthquake near Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula. All right, let's take a look at this.
10時53分、小川町上空です。 ですけどお願いします。
Move on. Okay. So this is looking pretty serious. What's this here? This is from 1 hour ago. This looks to be a much stronger tsunami than expected. This footage was taken from the same area that factory was seen. There is nothing left in the area. Please take this seriously. All right, let's look. So are they saying there was a factory there? Says there was a factory. There's nothing left in that area. Okay. 1 hour. So this is the factory here. So it went from this. All right, hold on. Oh, boy. So they're saying that is what was here. So what is that? Can we locate that that's standing out of the water? Do we see anything that looks like that here? What would that be? Let's watch again. Definitely inundated with water there, but you don't see it being washed away. Let's see. Russia is getting clobbered by the tsunami. They had very little warning where it was, where the epicenter was of the 8.7, just 40 miles off coast. So, yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah, that is terrifying. Holy crap. Yeah, that's the first video I watched where he gets swept into the water. Jeez. Let's see. 8.7. And there is Japan, really close. That's the same video. What does this say? From Mary Taos, Texas. All the weirdos I'm seeing cheering on the earthquake in Russia are disgusting. Jeez. What, because of like the Ukraine war? People are demented. Let's see.
Господи, боже мой! Стой, Господи, боже мой! Когда успокоится все, Господи! Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой-ой-ой-ой!
А у нас землетрясение. А у нас землетрясение.
Scary stuff. Let's see. Spambot saying BC coast is tsunami watch only, not warning. Thank you for that, Spambot. Maybe we'll take a quick look, actually. Hold on one sec. Just going to pull up a different page here. See if we can get an update on that. Hold on. BC tsunami warning. The tsunami watch is in effect for BC zones A, B, C, and D. So, yeah, that's a watch Not a warning. Okay. Okay. So here's Vancouver Island. So watch all along there. Oh boy. Okay. Let's see. Tsunami advisory is in effect, meaning strong waves and currents are possible. Waves, currents can drown or injure people who are in the water. Okay. Currents at beaches, harbors, marinas, bays, and inlets may be especially dangerous. Okay. So they're not going to get like a giant wave there, but if you're in the water, 0.3 meter waves, under 1 foot, 0.3 meters, expected to reach Langara Island. Okay. This point, it doesn't look like the BC coast is going to get major inundation, but please take this seriously. You will get strong currents and waves in the tsunami arrival in Canada. Okay. That was 2 hours ago. So I'm guessing by this point, it has passed. All right. Okay. Oh, says expected to reach at 22:05, Haida Gwaii, Tofino, 23. So that's 11:30. All right. I'm just hearing about this. Give me 1 second, you guys. And I'm just going to send off a text really, really quickly. All right. I'll be right back. Hold on. All right, done. So, yeah, that's terrifying stuff. What are you guys saying here? What's going on in the chat? Let's see. Let's see. Rosie says, are you concerned about the tsunami after Russia earthquake? Warning just posted an hour ago. Yeah, well, it is a concern. That's a big earthquake, too. So it's not going to be like a massive wave hitting the BC coast. But yeah, it sounds like for if you're on the beach or if you're in the water, you want to get out. Let's see. Nevada still wants Greenland. Will Nevada ever win? Will he get Greenland? I hope so. Let's see. Spambot says, I'm not. I'm in the rain shadow of the Rockies. That's a good place to be. Let's see. Ray of Ram. Good to see you in the chat. Says, hey, Chet, great show. Well, thank you very much. Interesting weather. Very nice. Let's see. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Chef Rico says, all y'all BC types, stay safe. Yes. Let's see. Pastor Rapture, how you doing, Pastor? If you go to the USGS site, you can see there was a series of quakes. Yeah. Well, usually, yeah. I mean, it's usually, especially with the big one, like I think there's always aftershocks, right? But with those big ones, you can get big aftershocks. Chef Rico says, I've been following this hippie geophysicist on ScrewTube. ScrewTube? He predicted it. Well, who is he? Chef Rico? So we can all follow him. Let's see. Founded on X Emergency Info BC. Pastor says, Canadian West Coast don't expect to see 1.5 feet or less. Yeah, well, I guess it was it upgraded to less than 1 foot? Let's see. Yeah, so let's repeat. Yeah, Spambot says BC Coast is tsunami watch only, not warning. So let's remember that. Why the fuck are you screaming? Who's screaming? Who's screaming? Did I miss somebody screaming? Let's see. Pastor Rapture. Oh, I saw Rosie. Pastor Rapture, have you ever lived with girls, women? We scream sometimes. That's true. That's true. Let's see. Just reacting. Let's see. Chef Rico says, glad we went back to the weather. This is the good weather. Let's see. All right. Let's move on. So what do we got next? Let's see. So from Billboard Chris here. Keir Starmer's brain just malfunctioned. So reporter says Trump makes it look easy dealing with illegal migration. So this is going to be a tough one for Keir Starmer. Because they have a migration problem there, and they're not, it's not that they're not doing anything, they're facilitating it. So he's basically the same as Biden, but in the UK. Clearly, as a lefty, a radical leftist, he wants as much immigration as possible, totally heedless of the consequences. He does not care about the British people. He does not care about the indigenous people of England. He's a globalist, and they just are dead set on importing the third world into their countries. So this is obviously going to be an awkward question for him. Let's take a look.
Minister, the president makes it look easy dealing with illegal migration. You must be envious of his record in such a short period of time.
Well, I think we've been discussing irregular, illegal migration is a huge issue in both our countries. In the United Kingdom, it is a real cause for concern, and that's why we must bear down on it.
Minister, the president makes it look...
One of the greatest things that's happened maybe the greatest thing that's happened for the Western world in decades is Trump after the media and politicians went on and on ad nauseum about how there needed to be a bipartisan border bill. That's the only way that the problem could be solved. The illegal immigration could be solved as a bipartisan border bill that makes illegal immigration legal, basically. Functionally just makes it legal. That's the only thing that you can possibly do, and Trump gets in as president and just stops it. No bill needed, just will. Right? You don't need a bill, you just need the will. And this is an example to the rest of the world. Like, you can just do it. Keir Starmer could just do it. They could just say, no more boats are getting in. Anybody who lands on British shore on one of these boats is leaving immediately. We just simply don't have to do it. And by the way, everybody who's in the country illegally, you can just get rid of them. You can just say, no, you're not allowed to be here. No, because we actually like our country. This is our country. We're not opposed to the nation state. We're not opposed to borders. It's an island. It's an island inhabited by its own indigenous people. The indigenous people of that island live there. They can say, they have every right to say, no no, we can decide who gets to come here, and not everybody does. The entire third world doesn't get to come here. This is not a human right to live in England and collect benefits. So this is very, very awkward for him. And this is a great service to Western civilization that Trump has done. Just prove that actually you can just stop it. If you have the will, you can just stop it. It's not even that hard. You can do it very quickly. It puts the Keir Starmers in a very difficult place, doesn't it? Because he has no excuse anymore. And that's what this question from this reporter was illustrating. He showed that journalist just showed that Keir Starmer, the emperor, has no clothes. It's all fake. It's all fake. All the excuses, everything he says here, right? Everything he struggles to get out here, it's just worthless. It's nothing. It's just empty words.
Short period of time.
Well, I think we've been discussing irregular, illegal migration is a huge issue in both our countries. In the United Kingdom, it is a real cause for concern, and that's why we must bear down on it.
The president makes it look easy.
It's a real issue. He's for it, and the sane people there aren't. It's a real issue, and he could stop it, and he won't, because he wants it, because he's a globalist. Anyway, when I say that Trump is setting an example for the Western world, and you can talk about tariffs and all kinds of stuff, whatever, but in the larger picture, the civilizational, the destiny, the fate of Western civilization, right, is actually the bigger issue. It's the more important issue. And the incredibly important thing that Trump is doing is setting a good example and saying, there is no excuse. You can just stop it. If you don't, you'll want it. And you can't hide anymore. You can't hide behind pretenses of, well, it's difficult politically, or, you know, you need a bipartisan bill or some other nonsense. No, your cover is gone. Your camouflage is off. You've been laid bare, and your ideological capture is laid bare and laid naked. You just simply want it, and that's why you're not stopping it. And what could be more obvious? What could be more obvious? His Keir Starmer's people now know where he stands. And let's see. Rick Holden said, to be fair, it's much harder to secure an island than a country with two huge unpopulated borders. All right. Hold on one second. All right. Let's see. What do we got? So what's going on here? Concerned citizen. So I guess they had some diversity on a plane and it didn't go great. Let's take a look. What's this guy doing?
The plane! Going to bomb the plane! Dead to America! Dead to Trump! Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! Oh my God! Stop. Sit down. Don't move. The plane! Going to bomb the plane! Dead to America! Dead to...
Death to America, death to Trump, Allahu Akbar. Nothing ever really good happens after you hear that. That's the last thing you want to hear on a plane, right? So from the religion of peace, that's the last thing you want to hear. If you're on a bus and somebody starts chanting that, you don't want to hear it. You start worrying, and I think for very good reason, because it's not that some peace is going to happen. It's not that you're worried that peace might suddenly break out on the bus or on the plane. The gaslight. It's amazing that the gaslighting works on anybody because it's just so obviously fake. Religion of peace. I'm sorry. And again, this is not saying that everybody blah 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 blah, but there's just trends, and they're pretty hard to ignore. Oh, here we go. So this is Keir Starmer's solution to illegal immigration in the UK. So he was asked this question by a journalist, which must have been very awkward and embarrassing for him. Let's watch it again.
The president makes it look easy dealing with illegal migration. You must be envious of his record in such a short period of time.
Well, I think we've been discussing irregular, illegal migration is a huge issue in both our countries. In the United Kingdom, it is a real cause for concern, and that's why we must bear down on it.
Yeah, it's a real cause for concern. And Trump just ended it immediately and proved that you could just end it immediately. And he's not going to. What is he going to do? It's a very important issue. So what's he going to do? He's going to make it illegal to talk about it. That's how he's going to solve the problem. That's a very common way of solving problems for the modern left. You just ban talking about it. There, no problem now. Michael Schellenberger, it's official. The UK is now officially a police state. It has become precisely what Orwell warned about. Criticize mass migration, and you can expect the police to come to your home. And judges will give longer sentences for wrongthink than many violent criminals. This has actually been happening for a while already. From the Telegraph, elite police squad to monitor anti-migrant posts on social media. They've actually been doing all of this. Concerns for free speech mount as Home Office creates team to flag signs of potential unrest. So, an elite team of police officers is to monitor social media for anti-migrant sentiment amid fears of summer riots. Well, they've been monitoring social media already just for any kind of dissent against far leftist policies. But I guess they're getting really serious and really zeroing on this one problem because it's becoming more of an issue, a political issue in the UK. So again, the leftist solution is just ban you talking about it. Problem solved. In other dystopian news from the UK, from Marty up north posted this. I've been warning people about this for years. This is not fantasy. This is real. From the Daily Record, Brits could be banned from going on holiday as carbon passports introduced. Well, they might not be able to do that because it might be racist because a lot of the refugees that they take in there and immediately put on benefits use that money to go on vacation from the places they fled from because they were dangerous. Because it turns out they weren't, and the whole thing was just a big lie and a scam. So I don't know. They might have trouble with that one. All right, let's move on. We've already covered that. Let's see. What do we got here? Oli London. Liberal women bang pots with wooden spoons in the name of free Palestine as part of the global pot banging for Gaza trend. Just zombies. The mind virus gets into their heads, and it looks like, is this like a mother and daughter? So maybe it's hereditary, because the mind virus doesn't find purchase in every mind. So some people are immune to it. Like I'm immune to it. Everybody watching this is immune to it, but not everybody is. Maybe there's a genetic factor in it as well. So for people who get infected by the idea pathogen, which takes away their agency and their free will and has them standing outside banging pots like imbeciles for just whatever cause. Right now it's this, it could be something else. It'll probably be climate change next month, whenever the Palestine thing goes away or stops being useful. It'll be something else. Maybe it'll be, I don't know, maybe it'll be the penguins or something next year. I don't know, but let's take a look here. Well, this has got to work, right? This has got to. How can Israel ignore this, right? Two woke zombies banging pots over an issue they know absolutely nothing about.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe a lot of this is just like mentally ill people. This is like an asylum, and it looks like they're wearing the keffiyehs, but they're just the tablecloths that they were having dinner at the tables they were having dinner at, and they just took them off and put them over because it comforts them or something. Maybe they're just mentally ill. I don't know, or mentally disabled in some way. I think either way, actually, it kind of feels like they're mentally disabled. What's going on? I think that guy from Johnny Dangerously has something to say about it. Though, hold on a second. What does he have to say?
You lousy corksuckers.
Ooh, that's rough. Let's see. In fact, they look like they're very low energy. Leftist zombies as well, by the way. They're very low energy. I wonder what could pick them up. Give them a little bit of a pickup. I don't know what could. Can you guys think? It's Tuesday, and there's a certain kind of energy we're allowed to have on Tuesdays. It was concession made during very, very tough negotiations. I wonder what kind. I can't even think of what kind of energy these people might need.
They, them, energy. They, them, energy. They, them, energy. They, them, energy.
They could definitely use a bit of that they, them energy, I will say. Let's see. So what's this? New York Times, the ethicist. Was I right to call the cops on a black man breaking into a car? I don't think this is new. I think this has been around for a while. This feels like very like 2020, maybe 2021, but a very summer of love headline from the New York Times. Was I right to call the cops on a black man breaking into a car? Oh, you were totally wrong. There needs to be two different sets of laws for people. Arbitrarily set laws for people, of course. Pretty dumb. I think we already saw this guy. All right, let's move on. So now we're at the last tab. And what would the last bookmark be without Jesse Lee Peterson? It would be nothing. Let's take a look. This guy, I laughed just looking. He's just hilarious, this guy. I don't even know what they're talking about here. It's just funny.
Do you like being a man?
Yes.
You do like being a man, but thinking like a woman.
I don't think I think like a woman. I think like a man.
No, you don't. I'm here to tell you, you don't.
I think what you're trying to say is I appear to be thinking in feminine ways.
No, you think like a woman.
I don't think so.
I want to be real clear.
Okay.
You think like a woman. Do you like being a man?
He just has these leftists on it that just insults them. Just like whatever their idiotic arguments are, whatever it is they believe, he just like, you think like a woman. Which is really just cutting to the heart of it, isn't it? I mean, there's a wisdom in this. He's just cutting right to the heart of the matter here. Right? It is all very feminine. There's been a complete and total feminization of the left. He's right. He's just so funny when he does it. One more time.
Do you like being a man?
Yes.
You do like being a man, but thinking like a woman.
I don't think I think like a woman. I think like a man.
No, you don't. I'm here to tell you, you don't.
I think what you're trying to say is I appear to be thinking in feminine ways.
No, you think like a woman.
I don't think so.
I want to be real clear.
Okay.
You think like a woman. Do you like?
I want to be real clear. Oh, the guy's hilarious. Nevada says, I love Jesse. He is good. As he says, that guy on the plane needed some them energy. Yeah, he did. Let's see. Bad Uncle Frank says JLP is awesome. He is. He's just hilarious. And he just cuts right to it. Cuts right to the quick. You think like a woman. Do you like being a man? I don't think you like being a man. Oh. All right. Let's move on. What do we got next? It's the last tab, people. Libs of TikTok posted this. Chuck Schumer. Can you be any more corrupt than one of the, like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer? Could you be any more just like decrepitly corrupt than these people? They can't believe what they're saying. This is all just manipulation. Like there's nothing good that can come of this. Chuck Schumer says that Republicans don't believe in democracy because they want voter ID to make sure American citizens are the only ones voting in American elections. So can he actually believe what he's saying? I don't think so. This guy's been around the block. I think what we're seeing here is just total and utter cynicism personified. Just lust for power personified. Let's take a look.
Because these guys are undoing everything in every way they can. They don't want poor people to vote. They don't want
undoing everything in every way they can. So what's he talking about there? Voter fraud? They're undoing voter fraud? I kind of feel like that. Let's watch that again.
Because these guys are undoing everything in every way they can. They don't want poor people to vote. They don't want people of color to vote. They don't want Democrats to vote. They don't believe in democracy. We do. Because these guys...
Because they want people to have to prove that they're American citizens to vote. Because they want to know that every vote is legitimate. This is even in other like really left-wing countries like France. Like this would sound insane to them. Like the Democrat policies, election policies sound insane to even left-wing countries around the world. Like even to Canadians, it sounds insane. Like, obviously, you need to be able to prove that you can vote legitimately, right? Does he think that that having ID is going to actually stop poor people from voting? You need ID to get government benefits if you're poor. Can he really believe this? Black people can't get ID? That's a ridiculous, in fact, incredibly racist lie. That's going to disenfranchise. Like, you can't do anything without ID anyway. Just on its face, it's absurd. Like, who are they worried about? Like people who got lost in the woods and became amnesiacs and they don't have ID? Like, who's he worried about exactly? Not being able to vote. It's all just made up. Of course he doesn't believe it. Of course he doesn't believe that requiring election integrity is anti-democracy, that of course he doesn't believe that demanding integrity in your elections is anti-democratic. Of course he doesn't. He can't possibly. This guy, he's not an actual idiot. So there's something so shockingly cynical in this. He knows every word he's saying is a lie. And maybe not every one of these parasitized dingbats standing there realizes that, but most of them probably do realize that it's all a lie, right? And also based on some extremely racist ideas, right? About who's capable of what depending on race. It is astonishing and grotesque and amazing that this is what left-wing politics really has come to. People like this utterly corrupt cretin spouting the most cynical ideas that are imaginable. And it's just okay. It's just okay. He's not going to get called out on CNN, MSNBC, and the New York Times. They'll all play along. It's just this grotesque charade. And it's not to help anybody. It's about power. And that's it. What's going on here? So NBC News, 48-year-old teacher has sex with 17-year-old student. The boy claims it's okay because she was a big booty Latina. It's okay because she was a big booty Latina. I don't know what you guys think of that, but I think it's damn funny. I guess that's her there. The big booty Latina. No, it's okay, guys. She's a big booty Latina. Oh, my God. It's funny. You got to say it's funny. Let's see. Doggo noticed that his owners were packing for a trip, so he started packing his things too. This is a palate cleanser right here. Look at that. Oh, look at that dog. He's packing. Saying, don't forget about me. Oh, man's best friend indeed. All right. Let's see. Oh, chocolate. I forgot. Hold on. I forgot part of the they them energy deal and the tough negotiations with the crowd was that if I show the they them energy clip, I have to show some chocolate for Rosie. So here we go. For those of you who don't know, let's see. It's got to be something good though. I mean, that looks good, but is it really like that kind of high-end chocolate stuff we're looking for? Like you type in chocolate and then this comes up. I don't know. There we go. Look at that. Oh yeah. Look, chocolate. Which one would you guys have? I think I'd have the peanut butter one. Can't resist that. Oh, raspberry though. Pretty good. Cherry cordial. I don't know. A lot. I'd probably eat most of them. I got to be honest. There we go. Let's move on. Obligation fulfilled. And let's go back to the chat for a second. Hold on. Let's see. Nevada says July is White History Month. Well, that's good. Finally, we got a month. Bad Uncle Frank says Schumer knows his base is what? Retarded. Nevada says they look pathetic. Chef Rico says they're just used to stealing elections. You need to provide a birth certificate to play junior sports. Fact. Yeah, it's so transparently about fraud. There is no justification for it. It's insane. No other country does it. It's just transparently about that. I mean, the fact that in California they banned election officials for asking for ID tells you all you need to know. There's only one reason for that. There's only one reason that in California illegals can get driver's licenses, and every single person who gets a driver's license gets registered automatically. It's illegal to ask for ID. Put two and two together. It's obvious. Chef Rigo says, I wonder why they're so anti-ICE. Exactly. It'll be interesting to see how they do in the next election, actually, after Trump's finished dealing with all this stuff. Chef Rigo says, I'm in California. No ID required to even register to vote. Just a name and address. There's only one reason for that. Only one. And it's not to stop people from being disenfranchised. Rosie says, poor puppy, afraid he will be left behind. I know. It melts your heart, doesn't it? Let's see. Rosie says, nice job on chocolate. It was pretty good. I want some chocolate now. What am I going to do? I got to go get some chocolate. You know, we're 2 hours, 26 minutes in and no glitch. That's crazy. Oh, you know what? You know, I forgot. We got all these new ads. And I forgot to, let me refresh it. because these are all super fresh, brand new ads. Let's see. What should I do? I'll let you guys choose. Let's see. Caddis Sports. There's a few different ones from them. What about AIM controllers? These are some good ones. You know what? I'm going to do the controllers ones. Let's do that. Get ready, people. Ready to level up your game? AIM Controllers is where custom meets unbeatable value. And right now, it's the best deal of the year. The best deal of the year, I need that. We start with official Sony and Xbox controllers. Fully compatible with console and PC. No functionality lost. That's very important. I don't want to lose functionality. Then you go wild with custom features, smart bumpers, paddles, grips, stick height, custom buttons, even design your own PS5 snap panels. They're so awesome that even communists like them. And here's the part no one else is doing. Lifetime warranty on all modified parts. Lifetime warranty on all modified parts. Where else you going to get that from, folks? You ain't. That's right, Lifetime. What other company does that? Exactly. It makes me wonder, are these guys crazy or something? This sounds too good. Normally, a fully loaded setup could run you $400. That's a lot of scratch, folks. But during our one price promo, it's just $209 US or 182 euros, no matter how many features you add. Really? That's crazy. How do they even do this? Use code RUMBLE at checkout and lock it in. Lock it in. This is your sign. Go to aimcontrollers.com. That's AIMcontrollers.com and build the last controller you'll ever need. How about that, folks? How about that? Chef Rico says, bouncing boobs chocolate are my favorite. Get your mind out of the gutter, Chef Rico. Come on. Let's see. That is misogynistic and patriarchy as well. You just, Chef Rico, guess what? Guess what, my friend? You just did a patriarchy. Actually, you're allowed to do patriarchies on this channel. Let's see. Let's see. Izzy says, I think that may have been an ad for customizing. All right. Let's move on to the next thing. So we got the Doug that wanted to go on the trip. So Wall Street Apes, Bill Maher criticizes liberals for supporting Islam. You know, Bill Maher speaks sense on so many things, but, and I think recently he actually said that he's just kind of done with the Democrats. He will never vote a Republican, though. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, no matter what. He finds it so many kind of actual liberals who didn't become radical leftists, who didn't just forsake all of their liberal principles, have remained voting for leftist parties, including, you know, radical leftist authoritarian politicians who don't represent them anymore at all, but they keep doing it because political fashion, because they've been trained to believe, they've been conditioned to just hear the word conservative or Republican or whatever. It's just so fundamentally, so deeply unfashionable and unpalatable. They just can't bring themselves to do it. They're still working off some stereotype that was drilled into their brains when they were in their 20s. And Bill Maher is one of those guys. He'll complain about the Democrats forever, but he'll still keep voting for them over and over again, no matter what, no matter if they are just diametrically opposed to everything that he believes. He still wants that label, that tag. But anyway, let's watch.
One of the main reasons why the far left started to really hate me is because I call out Islam as what it is, extremely illiberal. That's what's so ironic about liberals being so supportive of Hamas, is because you're liberals. And these are the people, I'm sorry, but this ideology Islam, even in its more benign forms, yes, I agree. The vast majority of Muslims, not terrorists, of course, but Islamists, which is the word we use to describe people who are not terrorists, but kind of agree with the things terrorists are doing and are for.
All right, so we haven't been freed from the glitch yet. Not yet. There it is. But let's go back on this, 'cause I want to watch the whole thing through uninterrupted. But the thing is, for like a Bill Maher, like what was always the biggest, the biggest issue for liberals? It was free speech. It was always free speech, including the speech of people you disagree with, right? If you want that now, you've got to vote conservative, because conservatives actually do care about free speech. And they're the only ones left that will defend it in any way whatsoever. But Bill Maher will never go there. He just can't. It's just too distasteful to him on the level of just simply political fashion. But let's watch.
One of the main reasons why the far left started to really hate me is because I call out Islam as what it is, extremely illiberal. That's what's so ironic about liberals being so supportive of Hamas, is because you're liberals. And these are the people, I'm sorry, but this ideology, Islam, even in its more benign forms, yes, I agree. The vast majority of Muslims, not terrorists, of course, but Islamists, which is the
See, Bill Maher still doesn't understand that the people he's talking about, that he's criticizing here, aren't liberals. He still doesn't get it. They're not you, Bill Maher. They are not like you. You are not the same as them, right? These are authoritarian leftists. They're not liberal. They're illiberal. That's why they can actually look admiringly on, an authoritarian universalist ideology like Islam, which is a religion, but it's also a political doctrine as well.
word we use to describe people who are not terrorists, but kind of agree with the things terrorists are doing and are for. That's a much higher number. That's many millions of people. And even the rank and file, I mean, most Muslim societies live under some form of Sharia law, which no Westerner who thinks that Hamas is so great could ever live under. Your fundamental rights that you take for granted here in America, you would not have. I mean, all the protesters who are protesting in Gaza against Hamas, they've all been killed. Right. They killed protesters. Women. I mean, do I have to say anything more than just if it was just that issue, how women are treated? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, Bill Maher still doesn't get it. Like, the people that he thinks are liberals are not liberals. The people that support this, right? The people out there with their flags and everything, support, like, feminists who will defend the burqa. They're not liberals. They're illiberal. They're authoritarians. They are also totally unbound by any kind of principle. It's just whatever feels progressive, whatever feels radical, they're for that. Bill Maher still doesn't understand this. He still thinks that in some way he has something in common with them, right? Yeah, it doesn't get the fact they might as well be a different species from him at this point. Maybe eventually he'll get it. I don't know. Let's see, from Autist. Why don't you get a job with your friends? What happens if I get a job with my friends? Okay, I think this is going to be good. Let's watch this. Hold on. Oh, I can't play that. Let's turn that off and then just watch. All right. What happens if he gets a job with his friends? That's exactly what I would do, by the way. Exactly what I would do. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. What are you guys saying? Let's see. Is that Tim Pool? That was Tim Pool. So I normally don't watch. I watched a couple of these, and they're not bad. His what's it called? Bill Maher's I can't remember what he calls it. It's not real time. It's his internet show. But I'd be interested to see his, because Tim Pool has been talking about Bill Maher. People ask him, why isn't he on Bill Maher? I've been saying this for years. And so I'd be interested to see now actually how this worked out. But yeah, that's Tim Pool. Chef Rigo says, today's Republican Party is the blue dog Democrats for that. Yes, it's switched, right? It's switched. They're the working class party now. Just as the same thing happened in Canada, right? The Conservatives are now the working class party. The NDP was always the kind of union working class party in Canada. That's been completely abandoned in favor of just sex changes for children and gender nonsense, and everything's racist. So it's been an interesting shift. Nevada says, I wish that idiot would take that head off. Well, I don't think that Tim Pool's an idiot. I like Tim Pool. I do watch Tim Pool, and obviously I don't agree with anything that anybody says. I think he's generally pretty good, though. Let's see. JDL says, how you doing, JDL? LGBT for Palestine. LOL. Yeah, it's very, very silly. Club Random. Thank you, Chef Rico. Club Random. That's right. All right, let's keep going. 2 hours and 38 minutes. Man, these things fly by. I was wondering, I look at the clock and go, how did we talk this long? How did this go on for so long? We've still got more. Table Salt, is Justin Trudeau single seeing Katy Perry single? It's like the washed up leftist match made in heaven. So apparently Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau were seen on a dinner date in Montreal. So there was a lot of speculation on the channel, especially with Grok versus Trudeau, on what Justin Trudeau would do after being prime minister. Right? There was a lot of speculation that at some point he would be getting a sex change operation, and I still think that's coming. But, what would he do exactly? Would he start some sort of trans colony on the moon? Who knows, right? Lots of different ideas. But I think now we know. Backup dancer for Katy Perry. So I look forward to not seeing him on the next tour. A Branson couple has been arrested after authorities say they secretly lived in the attic space of a local Walmart supercenter for more than 2 years, completely unnoticed by staff. According to police, Todd McAllister, 47, and Jessica Reams, 45, had been residing in a makeshift living area tucked inside the store's attic, above the garden center and automotive section. The discovery came after an HVAC contractor, responding to a routine maintenance issue, stumbled upon what he described as a fully lived-in campsite, complete with mattress, battery-powered lanterns, storage bins full of clothes, and even a working hot plate. HVAC guy for the win. So there she is. There's the lovely lady. And there's the gentleman, her squire. So even though it's a man and a woman, I still feel like they were committing some sort of crimes against nature in the ceiling of the Walmart. Nothing good was happening. I imagine it was really disgusting up there. So, but still, I mean, you know what? They made the best with what they had. It was kind of ambitious, I guess, live inside the Walmart. So, I don't know. Good on them, I guess. Some people just don't get it. So what's going on here? Hold on. What's going on here? Let's take a look. I'm going to turn the sound off, and then we're going to see what's happening here. I think you might be surprised. Okay, so there he is. He's making himself one of those protein drinks. There you go. You got to mix it up. Oh, it was just a big misunderstanding. Izzy says, stuff of nightmares, both of them. Yes. Bad Uncle Frank says meth is a hell of a drug. Yes, I agree with that. So I guess that is like, it can only be meth, can't it? This can only be, it can't be any other drug, not even crack. Like, this is what meth does. I think meth creates a very specific kind of, like, gross person. And this is definitely meth, in my opinion. Yes, I think it's a good call there, Uncle Frank. Trudeau Survivor, how you doing? Says Katy Perry now has inspiration for a new song. I kissed a woman and I liked it. I kissed a Trudeau. Let's see. These guys look like real puppy savers. Real puppy savers. Nevada says, this is just an excellent point here. True Gina. True Gina indeed. All right. Stuff of nightmares, both of them. Yes, stuff of nightmares. Living in a Walmart. Let's see. All right. So there's a lot of great old Soviet jokes that tell you why you should never want to be communist. Yet another Russian joke. A new Gulag resident enters his shared cell. The old-timer asks, "So how long are you in for?" And the newcomer says, 20 years. 20 years? What did you do? New guy says, nothing at all. The old-timer says, not possible. Sentence for doing nothing is only 10 years. These old Soviet jokes are dark, and they really provide an insight into what it was like to live there, to live under that. Three prisoners in a cell discuss why they are in the Gulag. One says, in 1932, I said something negative about Ivan Ivanovich, ended up here. The next guy says, in 1936, I said something positive about Ivan Ivanovich. Got jailed immediately. Third one, I am Ivan Ivanovich. This one really describes very well the kind of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Almost kind of irrational terror, or the irrational terror system set up. So the truth just can change in a moment, and you have to be constantly, in the Soviet Union, you have to be constantly up on who was good and who was bad, what was banned, what was banned, because it changed constantly. It's like actually the modern left now, right? They have to constantly be up on what's politically correct and what isn't, so that they don't get denounced by their own friends and family, apparently. So this, again, it provides a really interesting insight into what it was like, right? So Ivanovich was seen as a positive figure politically, and then all of a sudden now he's not. So you criticize him, you go to prison, and then he ends up going into prison because now he's out as well. So it's an insight into the kind of paranoia you would have to live with in a communist state, in a totalitarian communist state. It's very 1984, right? Let's see. How come Pedro Pascal never gets anxiety around Bella Ramsey? Well, here's the thing. Pedro Pascal is very clearly a gay man, right? He's just very clearly a gay man. And you see him with the attractive co-stars, and there, he says that he has to touch somebody because he gets anxiety and blah, 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 right? And, but as a gay man, he likes fabulous women, right? So his fag hags have to be fabulous women. And because, I mean, the reason why you see the co-star with the Fantastic Four, like they're very friendly, is because he's non-threatening. He's not a threat. He's not into her that way. He's really just one of the girls, right? But he's also a snob, right? So he wants to be like that with the fabulous girls, right? Because he's fabulous. And Bella Ramsey is not. So he's not going to be handsy with her and weird. because yeah, it's just kind of snobbishness, I think. All right, we already saw that one. Why do I have that one twice? That's weird. Okay. Let's see. Most vicious fight. Pigeon and cat. I think they're best friends. That's a palate cleanser right there. That's just nice. All right. Cat finds a patch of ice, and what happens?
A violent creature filled with hateful thoughts and a lust for blood. Teeth like razors, the most dangerous animal on this planet. A violent creature filled with hateful thoughts and a lust for blood. Teeth like razors, the most dangerous.
There you go. So she's still drunk. Kamala is still drunk. James Woods, how is it possible any citizen with a triple-digit IQ could have voted for this yammering nitwit? She is a one-woman extinction-level event. She's still drunk. She's clearly an alcoholic. Okay, listen to this.
Let's back up and realize what happened. A historic adversary, Russia, trying to figure out, how can I take away some of the strength of that?
Like, look at her body language, the way she moves her arm, just the way she holds herself. I'm sorry, that's 3 glasses of Chardonnay right there. She's clearly under the influence. She has been, she was throughout the campaign. It's just obvious the woman is a drunk.
That place called the United States of America. Well, one of the strengths that they've got, and it's intangible almost, you can't really touch it, but it's strong. When they walk in the room, it's their strength.
I'm sorry, if you were sitting across the table from her, you'd be asking, how many drinks did you have? That's drunk. She's behaved. That is the way a drunk person carries himself and speaks.
Strength is that they are a democracy. Imperfect though we may be, right? Flawed though we may be, it's part of our strength. How can we nip at that? Well, one of the greatest pillars of a democracy, especially ours, free and open election.
One of the greatest pillars of a democracy.
We are very proud of the fact we've not had any revolutions in recent history. It is through a peaceful transition of power through elections. Our election system, imperfect and flawed though it may be.
And that's why nobody should have to have ID or proof citizenship to vote in the elections. I guess that's her point.
So they decide to go with that. Well, let's get the American people going at each other to create division and a lack of confidence in this process. And they test out a bunch of subjects.
And by the way, voter ID is popular in the United States as it's popular everywhere because it's just so obvious. It's such an obvious requirement for voter integrity, so people can feel like the election meant something. The gaslighting is amazing. I mean, apparently you don't have to be this drunk to gaslight this badly because they all do it, but I guess it probably helps.
And interestingly enough, the subject that gained the most amount of heat was race. And they had people going at each other.
You did. Who's been pushing race? Who's been pushing race communism? Who's been pushing identity politics? It's you. You and the rest of the Democrat politicians. You and every leftist politician in the world. You and the media. And every institution and academia. You've been pushing race. It's just so shocking that it really is true. When you say they accuse you, the left accuses you of doing what they're doing. And I believe this is from Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. This is like a leftist law of persuasion, right? They accuse you of doing what they're doing, and they do it shamelessly. It's surreal. It's weird. It's incredible that there's any single person who doesn't notice it and recognize it, right? And and that doesn't resent it, the attempted manipulation. It's incredible.
This is all in the, you read the reports and you will see that this is what happened. So, but the fact.
What reports? What reports?
The fact is Russia interfered.
The fact is Russia interfered. It's just amazing. The gaslighting, it never ends. These people are soulless. I mean, she's stupid enough that maybe she really does believe it. I'm sure they probably didn't tell her anything when she was vice president anyway, right? They probably just kept her out of the loop on everything because she was so hammered all the time, and they were worried she'd let something slip. That's probably why she didn't do any press interviews, any press conferences during the election, which didn't help her. Let's see. Look at that. No, that's just nice. That's just wholesome right there. Oh, that's just nice. That washes away all that awful, corrupt Kamala Harris feeling. Let's move on. What's going on here? If Arnold Schwarzenegger was a musician instead of an actor. All right, let's take a look.
Tornado in Palma. It's up with the eye. You look at get JB back to man. Now wife's gonna be mad. Look at inform I get to chat about to put it down. No put those cookies down. Super power.
That's all we need of that. I'm sure that is going to have to be edited out because it's probably going to get copyrighted on YouTube. But still, it was worth it. It was still worth it all the same. Let's see. What else we got going on? So here's Victor Davis Hanson. What is he talking about here? There's an asymmetry no one explains. There are 1 million people in labor camps in China, Rwanda, and the Congo. That was one of the bloodiest wars in the world. So he's talking here about Gaza and the kind of full-on media push to influence the public regarding that conflict. Who's to blame? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? Let's hear what Victor Davis Hanson has to say about this. And it is remarkable when you see the entire left focus on this one thing and ignore everything else, right? There's a million Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps in China. Could not care less, right? There's been just ongoing horrors happening in Sudan, South Sudan for like a couple of decades now. Could not care less. In Egypt, when, all of a sudden, a Coptic Christian community gets attacked, could not care less. They could not care less what's happening to the Alawites and the Christians and the Druze in Syria right now. Could not care less. It's this one thing, right? And they've decided that the Israelis are for one thing, honorary white colonists now. So they've decided on that. This is a colonizer narrative that they can really go with. They can really sink their teeth into, and they do. And they just ignore anything that doesn't support that. Really, the Israelis are just some kind of evil honorary Europeans that are just doing their evil colonizing in the Middle East. Let's hear what Victor Davis Hanson has to say about it.
Here in the United States, on campuses, when I see people protesting, and by the way, most of the protests started after October 7th, but before October 23rd or 4th, when Israel went into Gaza.
It's important to remember that. When you think about the motives of the people out there with their flags that are screaming death to Canada, death to Israel, death to the USA, it's important to remember they were out while the blood was still warm, like while the slaughter was ongoing. They were out celebrating it. It was a big celebration. They were thrilled by what was happening as they were out on the streets. You have to remember that.
There's an asymmetry that no one really explains. I mean, There's 1 million people in labor camps in China, Rwanda, and the Congo. It was one of the most bloody wars in the world. Turkey is illegally occupying Cyprus, still illegitimately, illegally, much more dramatically than even Gaza. The Kurds have been pretty much attacked. Armenia just was ethnically cleansed of 200,000 people by the Turkish forces. No one says a word. So I, as a historian, I always ask myself, why is everybody talking about this? And they should talk about, but they're not talking about what happened to Armenia. They're not talking about what happened to the Kurds. They're not talking about occupied Cyprus. They're not talking about any of this. And I don't know, I don't have an explanation other than Israel is very successful and Western, and people think that it's an easy target. It listens to its critics. It's a democracy. Or there's a lot of, I have been surprised how much anti-Semitism, and not just, I knew it was on the left, but it's also starting to emerge in the right-wing base. And that I hadn't seen that since the 1950s in the United States. So it's very worrisome. And I don't think it's just in response to what Israel's doing. I think there was a deep-seated anti-Semitism that the Israeli-Gaza thing gives people a legitimate platform, because some of the things you hear on campus, it goes way beyond. I mean, when two Harvard students rough up a Jewish student, and one of them is made the grand marshal of a graduation ceremony, and the other one after that is known and investigated, and he's on probation, he's given a $63,000 scholarship by Harvard. Something is very wrong in American higher education.
Yeah. Victor Davis Hanson, what a pleasure.
Here in the United States.
So there's one other part of this, and I actually made a video about it. Subscribe to the channel. You can find this beautiful video. It's very informative. I think you'll like it. Also, like the stream right now. But I made a video about zombie Soviet propaganda, and they put a lot of resources into their active measures, into anti-Israel, anti-Zionist propaganda. So what happened was that, you know, when Israel was born, there's some question, would they turn west or would they turn east, right? Would they turn to the Western democracies or to like Soviet Union? And they turned west. So at that point, they then became enemies of the Soviet Union because of the obvious geopolitical importance of that region. So they immediately started in with active measures, propaganda, English language pamphlets, which they disseminated. They're getting into the universities, pushing it. I mean, you know, there was a constant, obviously, psychological warfare, active measures, attempts to destabilize Western countries, especially the United States. You had the American Communist Party working in collaboration with them, espionage. But one of these was active measures to try and turn the West against Israel. And this was purely geopolitics, right? It wasn't even ideological, it was just geopolitics. And the same language that's in those pamphlets that they were putting out and in their propaganda is the same language they use today. All the people there who actually, they all became experts on Gaza, on Palestine, and, you know, September 8th. It's all just reused. It's all just recycled Soviet propaganda. None of them know this, right? And if they did, they actually wouldn't care. But that's another aspect of this, which most people are totally unaware of. But you can learn about it in the video I made on my channel. Subscribe, and you can find that. Just type in Radio Baloney zombie Soviet propaganda, and you shall find it. Anyway, let's see. What are you guys saying in the chat? Chef Rico says, VDH is one of those super smart dudes that makes me question the amount of Neanderthal DNA I've in me. The more, the better, I say. Let's see. Ooh, what are you guys saying about Kamala here? Let's see. Let's see. Rosie says 3 glasses of water. We're talking about, we should probably go back to Kamala while we're talking about this. Where was she? There she is. Okay. Let's see. Chef Rico says she needs help. She does. She needs to go in somewhere where she can't access alcohol and talk to some people. Spambot says 3 bottles of Chardonnay. Rosie says 3 glasses of vodka, 8 of wine, 642 of Chambord. I don't even know what that is, but probably. Let's see. Nevada says it's a Democratic. Well, are you talking about the U.S. as a constitutional republic? Let's see. J. Nevada, I can't say that. That's just mean. Let's see. Rosie says her voice. Chef Rico says, all I hear is the Charlie Brown adult noise. Wah, 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 wah. Yep. But drunker, though. Drunker. It's your fault I did what I did, Nevada says. JDL says, we were less racist years ago. Well, the left, the communists, the revolutionary communists, needed, they need to find purchase in something, and they found it in, by moving from class consciousness to race, and now just full-on identity consciousness. And yeah, they want racism. They've tried. The left has become just totally racist, by the way, utterly racist. I mean, as we were talking, the whole thing around, voter ID disenfranchising people because there are certain groups of people that are less capable of getting ID, an extremely racist idea, in my opinion. And yeah, they're very racist, and they're trying to make the right racist because that benefits them. Let's see. Nevada says, oh, bummer, brought back racism. Yep, and that was intentional. They see that as being useful to them. Izzy says, Russia interfered? Is that why she lost? That's right. They're never going to give it up, by the way. Nevada says, she's an ex-border czar. That's right. Until she wasn't, right? Until she wasn't. Till the media decided she wasn't. When she was the candidate, all of a sudden, that didn't work anymore. Well, Bad Uncle Frank makes a great point here. She's just a fluffer that made it big in Willie Brown's limo. Willie Brown's limo, dear me.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
No. Let's see. Let's see. All right, let's skip down a little bit. Chef Rico says the guy teaches at Stanford and lives on a farm outside Fresno. I think he was an almond farmer, wasn't he? Something like that. Let's see. Rosie says, I do like his wisdom. Victor Davis Hanson is always spot on, Rosie says, RB zombie Soviet propaganda. It's actually a very good video. I think I lost some followers over it, but I got to tell you the truth. Let's see. Chef Rico says critical theory is Marxist. At first it was critical class theory, then changed to critical race theory. Same plain book, different subjects. Yes, that was in the 60s. The French communists did that. And it's because the Western world, they knew what was happening in Soviet countries. They knew that it was a much lower standard of living. They knew it was oppressive. And so, working class people realized that we're better off under this system than that system. So they had to switch it up, and they've done this awful. They've really turned it into an even more anti-human ideology than it was before. And it seems like that shouldn't be possible, but I think that's what actually happened. What do we got next? So here's Chris Rock. So let's see. So this was back at a time when everybody was more sane and, you could accurately describe reality, which you can't do anymore without being called racist. But here's Chris Rock.
So as a public service, the Chris Rock Show proudly presents this educational video. Have you ever been face to face with a police officer and wondered, is he about to kick my ass? Well, wonder no more. If you follow these easy tips, you'll be fine. First, obey the law. Laws were made for a reason. Think of them as hints. You've heard people say, man, I wouldn't do that shit if I was you. Well, here's some of that shit. Carjacking, armed robbery, arson, selling drugs, buying drugs, stabbing, shooting. You know, you probably won't get your ass kicked if you just use common sense. If you jump a subway turnstile, you might just get off with a warning from the police. But if you jump a turnstile carrying a loaded gun and smoking a joint, then maybe you need your ass kicked. We all know what happened to Rodney King. But Rodney wouldn't have gotten his ass kicked if he had just followed this simple tip. When you see flashing police lights in your mirror, stop immediately. Everybody knows, if the police have to come and get you, they're bringing an ass kicking with them. Here's a no-brainer. If you're listening to loud rap music, turn that shit off. Blasting "fuck the police" while you're getting pulled over by the police is just ignorant. When an officer approaches your car, be polite.
Is there a problem, officer?
And stay in your car with your hands on the wheel.
What the fuck do you want, motherfucker?
Unless you want your ass kicked.
See, that's just sanity. That's what we call sanity, right?
So, as a public service, the Chris Rock Show
from a saner time when you could just accurately describe reality. But we're getting back there. Let's see. Oh, this is funny. So this hour is 22 minutes, which is typically not very funny, but occasionally they do get it right. From Ryan Garrettson. It's been very rare over the years, but sometimes 22 minutes nails it. I've seen a couple of things over the last couple of years, a few things that were actually quite good. And yeah, sometimes they do make an effort. Let's take a look at this.
It's been a little over a month since my last day as Prime Minister. I'd be lying if I said adapting to everyday life has been easy. But I would never lie, and I never have. So I'll tell the truth. Adapting to everyday life has been hard.
Hello, how are you?
One Canadiano, please.
Could I get a name for the drink?
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Sorry, former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
So just Justin then?
Yes. Yes, just Justin. I've struggled to find my new identity. And just when I think I'm beginning to find it, someone treats me like the Prime Minister again.
Hey, Justin! You!
Somebody treats me like the Prime Minister again. Justin, fuck you. That's good. That's good writing.
I've been trying to live a normal life, do things on my own. I've been working on becoming one of the working class, a handyman. Excuse me, what is a leaf blower? I've been trying to learn to food, or cook as you call it. Excuse me, I'm looking for something called ingredients. Where are they? But everything just feels so foreign. But not in a fun way like my Halloween costumes. And do you have any idea how expensive rent is? It's insane. I'm just gonna say it. My landlord's a dick. What is this? What do you mean electricity and water cost money? They're essential. How is a Canadian supposed to get ahead? Just trying to get a little side hustle going. A little extra change in the pocket. Donald, it's Justin. I'm looking for a work reference, and we used to work together, so I was hoping that...
You're an absolute dog. You're a nasty man.
Thank you,
Frankly,
Mr. President.
I wouldn't
Yes.
even...
I keep trying to build something, but there's all these roadblocks in the way. I'm trying to find my way, but how can I find my way if I can't even find myself? Who are you? Who am I?
Just Justin?
Who are you?
Just Justin?
Who am I?
Just
Who
Justin?
are you?
Just
Who even are you?
Justin?
Who am I? You're Justin. You're just Justin. I'm a normal Canadian citizen. I've arrived. For the last 9 years, I've had the challenge of taking care of 40 million Canadian citizens. Oh, kudos. But now, I get the reward of taking care of one. Merci, fellow citizen. And that feels a lot more manageable. Taxpayer dollars. Don't mind if I do. Now, pardon me, but I'm gonna dome this entire doobie in public because we're allowed now because of me.
They really nailed that combination of idiocy and narcissism in this. Yeah, they nailed them. They really got the kind of spirit of Justin Trudeau in this. So I'm going to congratulate them when they do a good job. They did a very good job on this. Let's see. And the Trump impersonation was pretty good too. That was pretty good. All right. Let's see. Name a video that you could watch 450 times without being able to stop yourself from laughing. I think one of you guys sent this to me. Let's take a look. Here's another one.
Excuse me, have you been smoking any pot today?
No.
Well, you've been stopped here for...
This is at 22 minutes as well, so this is another good one. I'm not sure when this came out.
15 minutes. Can you tell me why that is?
We're waiting for the stop sign to turn green.
How high are you?
Hi, how are you?
No, I said, how high are you?
Hi, how are you? This cop is so friendly, babe.
Okay, I am going to have to conduct a pot sobriety test.
Oh man, I'm too high for that.
Blow into this?
Hey, is that a breathalyzer?
No. Okay, now I'm going to ask you a few questions to determine your ability to drive. Why is a pizza box square when the pizza's a circle and all the little slices are tiny triangles? Which of these two snacks would you prefer? Chips or the cookie dough? Step out of the car, please. Let's go. Please, don't.
Again, I got to hand it to him. That's a good one. I think that's 22 minutes as well. Pretty good. Pretty good. That's not a total waste of taxpayers' dollars. All right. Before we do that, let me see if I can do another ad. Let's see. That'd be fun if we could do one more ad. Let's see. Oh, another brand new one. Let's see. We've got float tube emergency kits and cooler. Ooh, let's do emergency kits. That'll be a fun one. Let's check it out. All right, outdoor crew, or anyone who just wants to be ready for anything, check out the Red Pro Series 72-hour emergency kit from Canada Sports. It's important because the communists could take over at any time, and you're going to need some food then. This is a serious 72-hour survival pack built into a rugged tactical backpack and loaded with everything one person needs. 2,400 calories of food bars. Yum. 5 water pouches. Got to have the water. Thermal emergency blanket. 36-piece first aid kit. Emergency stove plus canteen cup. That's a lot. All of it has a 5-year shelf life. So you're covered for hurricanes, wildfires, blackouts, communist revolutions, whatever life throws at you. Whether you're off grid or just want a peace of mind, whether you're off grid or just want peace of mind at home, this kit's a must-have. Compact, reliable, and made for real emergencies. Use code RUMBLE at checkout for 10% off your order today. Use code RUMBLE at checkout for 10% off your order today. That's Caddis Sports, It's CADDIS sports.com. I repeat, that's CADDIS sports.com. Gear up, stay safe, and be ready when it counts. Beautiful, beautiful ad read. Beautiful ad read. Let's see. Chef Rico says, you spend tax dollars for comedy skits? What? Must be nice to not have to pay for defense spending. It is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. What's going on with this guy? When you wake up after a half an hour nap and you don't know what year it is, that's it. That's me like every time I have a nap. I guess it's just going to do that thing, so we're not going to watch it, but you get the point. That was me this afternoon. Let's see, what's this? Here's a nice palate cleanser. This black mama cat lost her kitten, so the owners got her an orphaned orange kitten to love and take care of. This is just nice. How is this not nice? That's just lovely. Aww. Aww. Nice thing. It's so much better than, like, communists, right? Cats could never be communists. This was so funny because it was true. So what's going on? I think we've seen this before, but I'll play it one more time. Why not? Let's just do it.
And what really killed me was last Christmas, we canceled a song that was written in the 1940s called Baby It's Cold Outside. People were triggered by that song. Radio stations wouldn't play it. They said it had toxic masculinity in it. And they said that the lyrics had suggestions of male sexual aggression, which is fine if you feel that way. But at the exact same time, the #1 song in this nation for over 2 months was entitled Wet Ladies and gentlemen. I am not making that up. Google it. Check me out on that. I'm not lying. For over 2 months, the #1 song was played on the Grammys. It also won the Best Hip Hop Song for the American Music Awards and the People's Choice Awards. And so I thought it would be fun to compare and contrast the lyrics of these two songs to see if indeed this country has lost its mind. Now, let's begin with the horribly offensive Christmas song written just after World War II, Baby It's Cold Outside. I really can't stay, baby, it's cold outside. I gotta go away, baby, it's cold outside. This evening has been so very nice. Yeah, you f***ing with some wet ass. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass. Beat it up, N-word, extra large, extra hard. Put this in your face, swipe your nose like a credit card. My mother will start to worry. Beautiful, what's your hurry? My father will be there at the door. Listen to that fireplace roar. Well, maybe just half a drink more. Spit in my mouth. Look in my eyes. This is wet. Come take a dive. Talk your shit, bite your lip, ask for a car while you ride that dick. My sister will be suspicious. Gosh, your lips look delicious. My brother will be there at the door, waves on a tropical shore. Well, maybe just a cigarette more. I need a deep stroker. I need a weed smoker. Not a garden snake. I need a king cobra. I don't want to spit. I want to gulp. I want to gag. I want to choke. I want you to touch that little dangly thing that's swinging the back of my throat. I submit to you that this nation has lost its mind, everybody.
Yeah, the same people who condemned Baby It's Cold Outside for patriarchy and blah, 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 celebrated wet ass pussy. It kind of feels like, you know, whoever wrote Baby It's Cold Outside maybe had more respect for women than what's her name? The wet ass pussy woman. It's just the left likes ugliness and chaos and dysfunction, right? And that perfectly embodies it, that song, right? And Baby It's Cold Outside feels like a nice society. That's the product of a nice functional, orderly society where people actually respect each other, right? So it's two different worlds. It's one of just kind of hedonistic chaos, which is celebrated by the modern left, and one of just kind of like, I don't know, like common, like just decency, like not like Bedlam, not Sodom and Gomorrah. So I don't know. I can see why people would be kind of, pushed away by that. Let's see. Giant dog. Nothing else. No other commentary. Just giant, happy, friendly dog. I think these dogs, they don't live very long. I think they only live like 7 or 8 years, which is kind of sad because they're just giants. But no, nothing. Just no commentary. Just look, just giant, happy, friendly dog. That dog wants to be your best friend. And also, if anybody breaks in, it wants to tear off their limbs. Let's see, which is handy. Let's see. How long is this? Maybe we'll save this one for the next one. Now, this one here, breaking. Why is the FBI harassing a 12-year-old minding his business at home? So it says FBI visits 12-year-old who achieved nuclear fusion in his bedroom. So this looks really interesting. This is one that we have to go a little bit deeper into, I think. But we just don't have time. It's the end of this one right now. I want to be able to devote more time to it. So I think we'll have to get it next time. Let's see. What is this? Oh, so, all right. So Candace Owens is being sued by the Macrons. And this is not something I've really followed very much. Candace Owens claims that Brigitte Macron is a man. I think it's probably a woman, right? Has like kids and stuff. It's just kind of a manly looking woman. She's much older than him. She has a bit of that kind of dried up monkey face thing about her, right? But I thought it was fairly unlikely that she was actually a man. But anyway, Steven Crowder. Here's a clip from Steven Crowder. This is from the Misfit Patriot posted this clip, and let's take a look at what he has to say about it.
Were you then made aware that this was perhaps incorrect? And did you exacerbate it and make it worse? That's what this is going to be about. Candace responded by, you could say, doubling down.
You were born a man and you will die a man. That's the point I'm making. Oof. So give us a sample. I'll send my doctors to take your blood, figure it out real quick, however you want to go about this. Hey, how about just giving us some pictures again of you growing up, raising your children? That would be fine.
Yeah, so here's the problem, and if you read the entire filing, and I read 100-something pages of it last night, they actually already did directly send proof to Candace, said pictures, childhood pictures of Bridget. They did send evidence of Bridget's biological motherhood of 3 children. They did send pictures of her first, of her wedding when she was young. And there already is sworn testimony, for example, from the children and from the, I don't know if sworn testimony, but the previous husband. So she's now moving goalposts and saying, take a blood test. They did also, by the way, send the birth announcement, not a certificate, but an announcement. So newspaper clippings, pictures, sworn testimony, evidence, and this has all been provided to her for a long time. Now, remember.
So I don't know. What does it say here? Candace Owen is fucked. Yeah, it kind of sounds like it a little bit. I don't know what is going on with her. What is going on with her? I mean, I think she might be I think she might be losing some money, I think. So I don't know. I mean, it would be funny if Brigitte Macron was a man. It's not like I'd be upset if that happened. I just thought it was kind of. Were you then? Kind of unlikely, and I think it looks like it is, and Crowder is pretty good with this stuff, I think that he genuinely does try and be accurate, and so there you go, folks. Boy, I don't know, maybe we should do this Victor Davis Hanson thing after all. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says DNA analysis of Bridget's jizz sample will prove she's a woman. I think she really is a woman. I think that's what it's coming down to. She's just kind of a dried up monkey looking woman is all. So let's see. Spambot says that dog would eat huge amounts of food every day. The giant dog, it would. It certainly would. All right. Let's go back to the reviews of my ad read, though, because that's the most important thing. Let's see. Rosie says growly ad, no commie. No, there was commie hate. There was. I said that the supplies, emergency supplies, would come in handy if there's a communist revolution, because then there won't be any food. Right. So I did. Excellent read, 9.8 out of 10. That's almost the most you can get out of 10. So I'm not gonna, that's still pretty good. Thank you, Rosie. Chef Rico says, nice ad read. That was my first time through. I'm excited. There's new ad reads. I don't have to read the same ones every single time. All right. Victor Davis. So from the Daily Signal, Victor Davis Hanson, Hunter Biden slips the truth we all knew about Joe Biden's White House. In his crazed rant, Hunter Biden defended his father and attacked Democrats. But what Hunter didn't say is what matters most. Well, let's take a look here. So, actually, let's look through here. Let's see. Let's go to 59. Okay, so let's go to 59 seconds in. Here we go.
Hello, this is Victor Davis Hanson for the Daily Signal. I would like to talk a little bit about the strange, bizarre, endless, run-on, crazy interview that Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, gave with Andrew Callahan, a so-called Generation Z internet influencer. In this long interview, it was a spirited defense of his father, claiming that he was not demented at all, that he was in full control of his faculties, and he had a wonderful administration, and he was unfortunately aborted, kicked out, deposed by a sinister array of characters whom he accused as being incompetent. So he attacked George Clooney, who had written a letter about an op-ed about Joe Biden's cognitive problems. He went after David Axelrod, who was also a advocate of removing Biden and putting in Harris. Said his only claim to fame was he won one election. That's kind of true in the case of Obama. And as Hunter said, Obama was the reason he was elected, not Axelrod. He went after James Carville. He went after Jake Tapper. He went after the entire Democratic establishment. But what was very strange about what he did, he revealed himself. He attacked grifters in the Democratic Party that made a lot of money. That's what he did. He said these people were unethical. That's what he was. Remember, he was a tax cheat. He never reported fully the income that he made by trading off his father's name. He never truly gave us the full account of the Biden consortium, what his uncle, aunt, cousins, what they were actually doing to get such an enormous amount of money. He never explained why he accepted a pardon from his father. He never explained why his father actually signed his pardon in opposition to what he did everybody else almost with an auto pen. And then it got very bizarre. He never mentioned that he had dated his brother's widow and got her hooked on dangerous drugs. In fact, when he mentioned drugs, I thought he might refer to the cocaine that was found in a mail slot in the West Wing. He didn't. Instead, he gave a defense of cocaine and suggested it's not nearly as toxic as alcohol. When he was asked about the laptop, and remember, the laptop was in the possession of the FBI for 1 year, and they authenticated it as genuine, and they knew it was genuine. At the same time, they kept silent when 51 intelligence authorities lied to the American people, and Joe Biden used that lie in the second debate of the 2020 campaign to say that Donald Trump was lying, that this laptop, quote, had all the earmarks of Russian information efforts. meaning disinformation. He didn't mention any of that. In fact, he just said about the laptop in which he is seen using drugs, he's in pornographic poses, but most importantly, he references his father as the big guy and the 10% guy, and he laments that he is the bagman for the family. It's very incriminating. But he doesn't, as he has before, he has never denied that it was his. He never denies it's his. He just says it's irrelevant. If anybody had a laptop and you looked into it, all kinds of stuff would come out. He doesn't talk about his art, that con where he was doodling and blowing paint on through his nose, and then hawking that art to buyers who wanted influence with his father. His protestations that his father was heroic, that he was one of the best Democratic senators we've had, that his presidency was a smashing success, are laughable. So what am I getting at? What I'm getting at is this. It's very dangerous to think that for 4 years we had a president who was mentally challenged, cognitively disabled, suffering dementia, and the close circle around them, whether they were former Obama operatives or Biden's senatorial family or his own real family, that these people were running the country. And the last year or two, if you look at photographs, videos of Biden giving a speech, Biden traveling, there's one constant. It's Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden were his eyes and his ears. And he was a close and maybe the closest advisor to his father. And after listening to that video, you can appreciate just how close we came to utter chaos and disruption, that a mentally challenged president and his addicted son had the most power of anybody in the entire world, and were running this government with the help of who knows who.
You know, I tend to think, and that's all, you know, he always nails it, Victor Davis Hanson. He always nails it. He can bring, you know, this isn't that complicated, but he can bring, very complicated issues down just to common sense. He can boil it down to something that can be explained fairly simply. But I think what was going on here was I think that he's quite right. Hunter Biden was a close advisor, maybe his closest advisor to Joe Biden. But I kind of doubt that he was working with the cabal that was actually running the auto pen. I think that there was the Bidens and then there was the cabal, right? And the cabal was, obviously betrayed Joe Biden, but the knife in the back as soon as they felt that it was necessary. And they just couldn't keep wheeling him out anymore. And I think that's why, obviously Hunter Biden is very bitter. He's lost access to power, for one thing. But I think that's why he's so bitter, because he was not part of the cabal that was actually running that auto pen. Also, too, with the Hunter Biden interview, it doesn't seem very much like he's a guy who stopped smoking crack, right? Like, let's watch a little bit of this.
Run on crazy interview that Hunter disabled.
Actually, let's actually hold on a second. Let's actually find that interview. Let's take a quick look here. We're almost done, but I think we should. I think we owe it to ourselves and to our ancestors to watch that Hunter Biden interview. All right, where is it? What does this say? How Hunter thinks his interview went. How it really went. Yeah, like when I saw it, I thought immediately, oh, he's still smoking crack. Hold on, where is it? There he is. Let's see, where is, oh, here we go. Okay, so let's take a look at this.
No, the only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat, literally. That's it.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to like a science store.
This is free. You can go to your neighborhood convenience store and just get Anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar, cocaine, and baking soda.
How different is the experience?
Oh, it's vastly, vastly different. And like for real, I feel really reluctant to kind of have some euphoric discussion. I know you're not asking me to do that, but have some euphoric discussion about crack cocaine.
I think this might be kind of the opposite here.
Okay, no, it's the exact opposite. I'm saying I don't want to have the experience of some euphoric recall. That's how powerful crack cocaine is. Does crack
Euphoric recall from what, like right before the interview? Because it seems like that's probably the last time he smoked crack.
cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite. When you make crack, what you're doing is you're burning off all the...
Wow. I hadn't seen the whole thing. I mean, this is actually just amazing. He just keeps going on about it. I want to see if there's hold on a second. There's another part I want to see if we can find it in here. Okay, here we go. Let's watch this.
I was drinking so much alcohol, almost a handle of vodka a day. And alcohol is the most destructive drug, not just to your body, but it puts you in more danger than any other drug that I've ever experienced. And then you add on top of that the amount of crack that I was using at the time. And crack cocaine, in terms of your physical health, is not as dangerous.
Okay, there seems to be an obsession with the crack part of this, but hold on a second. What's he talking about here?
And David Plouffe and
here we
all
go.
of these guys. Opinions, but fuck him. Fuck him and everybody around him. I don't have to be fucking nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. Fucking George Clooney is not a fucking actor. He is a fucking, I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. Fuck you. What do you have to do with fucking anything? Why do I have to fucking listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his fucking life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the fucking New York Times to me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 fucking years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of fucking David Axelrod. And David Plouffe and all of these guys, and the Pod Save America guys, who were junior fucking speechwriters in, on Barack Obama's Senate staff, who have been dining out on the relationship with him for years, making millions of dollars. The Anita Dunns of the world, who's made $40, $50 million off the Democratic Party. They're all going to insert their judgment over a man who has figured out, unlike anybody else, how to get elected to the United States Senate over 7 times, how to pass more legislation than any president in history, how to have a better midterm election than anybody in history, and how to garner more votes than any president that has ever won.
Don't forget how to let 20 million people into your country illegally, including by literally flying them in.
And they're going to replace their judgment for his.
Not to mention,
who's Jake Tapper's audience? Jake Tapper,
my mom or something. I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
For real though, I don't even think it's your mom anymore.
No.
By the numbers, what influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news, and beyond that, I think that the book is right now on Amazon that he put out. I mean, his ratings just went to shit after he put the book out. You know, they did a 2-week infomercial for it. I mean, it was such a money grab, such a disservice to everybody that he serves with.
So what I see here is, I mean, a guy who, to me, it looks like a guy who is not done with smoking crack, for one thing, including like right before the interview, but also incredible ingratitude to all of these people who shilled for and lied for his family for years, for years. And then when it just became too embarrassing, too obvious, they had to turn. And of course they weren't nice about it because they're not nice people. Right? If Hunter Biden's calling them grifters or whatever, well, you know, people always think that everybody is what they are, right? So if you're a grifter, if you're a liar, a manipulator, a grifter, you assume everybody else is. In this case, he was right. So if he's calling all those Democrats grifters and, liars, whatever. In this case, he was right. They are what he is, because you kind of have to be that to be, a modern leftist politician. But in any case, I guess my real point is he's still smoking crack. All right, folks, that's the last. Well, actually, hold on. Sometimes stuff gets hidden in this bookmark. Let's, I'm going to refresh it, go down to the bottom. Yes, I knew it. I knew there was stuff that was hidden. Why does it do this? All right, let's go all the way to the bottom. All right, we got all of that. Got all of that. Let's go back up. We're not done, folks. We are not done. We're 3 hours and 42 minutes, but we missed Sunday. So we got to make it up. All right. All right. We've seen all of this. We've seen that. We've seen Chuck Schumer. We've seen that. We saw Jesse Lee Peterson. So what's going on here? A Sydney City Council removed free weights from the Bondi Beach public gym due to fears that the outdoor gym was a bro area full of testosterone. What has happened to Australia? The story perfectly captures the state of Australian society today. I mean, these guys are probably stronger than the people that want to remove it, so why don't they just stop them? I mean, it's insane.
The City Council that looks after Bondi Beach is under fire this morning for removing the free weights from its iconic outdoor gym, amid fears the area is, quote, attracting too much testosterone. Believe it or not, a lot of people do go to Bondi Beach not to relax or swim, but to pump iron and also film themselves pumping iron. Waverley Council says the weights were trip hazards. There have also been concerns raised recently about the gym primarily being used by men, alienating women, apparently. The City Council that looks after Bondi...
This is what you call the matriarchy. That's the matriarchy. It's toxic femininity that causes stuff like that. Let's see. Man lives with 8 life-size dolls. He invited his new girlfriend to meet them at his birthday party. So this is his new girlfriend. What part of 8 life-size dolls that he lives with didn't she understand? Let's take a look. Because you'd think, you just mention that, you start dating someone and they just casually mention, oh yeah, I live with 8 life-size dolls. You go, oh.
Mike's girlfriend Jody has just arrived for his birthday party.
Mike, it's me.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hi.
She's about to meet his dolls for the first time.
Oh, look at that.
She's about to meet his dolls for the first time.
Yes. This is sweet. Well, let's open the wine. Bring it on. I can handle it. Tell me exactly what.
Yeah, better open up that wine. Better open it fast.
What's going on? Let me be the judge if I can deal with it or not. I gotta know. I don't like being in the dark. I don't like secrets. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, Michael.
And they're all sex dolls. All sex dolls. So let's see. Mike lives with 8 life-size dolls. He invited his new girlfriend to meet them at his birthday party. What part of he wants to wear her skin does she not understand?
Is this it? Are these the 2 you have?
No, there's more.
There's more?
Yeah.
How many do you have?
8.
How many?
8.
8? You have 8?
What does she think he's doing with that? What does she think he's doing with that? Lee, get out of the house. Leave the house now, woman. He's going to wear your skin.
Over how many? Oh, how long? A period of time?
Oh, I have no idea.
Do you use all 8?
Not at one time. Be pretty tired, wouldn't I? You see it.
Not all at the same time because they'd be pretty tired. He'd be pretty tired. Okay.
Now.
I need a beer. I like that he talked to me about it. It's just a part of who he is. And I don't have a problem with this whatsoever. Because I know when I come over, it'll be all about me. And I'm perfectly fine with it.
She looks totally fine with it. That face looks totally fine with it. I wonder if they've consummated yet. Honey, could you just kind of lie there? Just kind of a bit more, just totally still? I'm saying that eventually he is going to want to wear her skin. And I'm sticking with that. Rosie asks, has she been heard from since? I don't know. I'm guessing no. At some point she went missing. Rosie says, ooh, Hannibal. Yeah. Let's see. What are you guys saying? Trudeau Survivor says, sounds like Hunter took lessons from Tampon Tim on how to code talk to men. I think he's code talking to crackheads, quite frankly. Rosie says, cocaine is altering. Read an article. If a doctor did not know you were doing coke, you would be diagnosed as bipolar manic depressive. That statement revealed to me that my friend was on coke a lot. Yeah, I think you can tell when people are on coke. I think it's fairly obvious. Uh-oh. Manbot's getting tired. Catch the remainder of the stream tomorrow. Well, if you're still there right now, thanks for stopping in, man. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's see. By the way, anybody who's still watching, subscribe to the channel and like the stream. It's super important. Everybody knows that. Yeah, I doubt she's been heard from since. All right. There's that dog who just woke up. So what's this? This is the Tolkien door of St. Edward's Church, Gloucestershire, England. So that's just cool, right? I just like that. That is just so English, isn't it? That's nice. It'll be sad when they knock it down and build a mosque on top of it. Probably in the next 6 months. Let's see. I can't stop laughing at this from Outback Steakhouse. So what happened? Diana left a review. 1 star. I am absolutely livid, she said. My husband drove all the way to pick up our Outback order, and you people forgot the bloomin' onion. That was the only thing I wanted. Oh, that's awful. That's so disappointing, isn't it? She left a 5-star review 4 months later. It said, my fat husband ate the blooming onion in the car and lied. I am sorry and don't know how to delete reviews. My fat husband ate the blooming onion in the car and lied. Who hasn't done that? So this dog is looking at that bug. What is that, he wonders? Whatever, I'll just eat it. And he did. This is kind of crazy. So this is an F-35's vertical landing goes wrong. Let's take a look. This is kind of crazy.
Oh, he just crashed. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
That's kind of nuts. Let's see. How many millions of dollars was that? By the way, crazy. All right, I guess that's it now. That is it. All right. So let's get back to the chat for a second, and then I think we're all done. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, if only Bill Cosby knew about these dolls, he might have stayed out of jail. That's a great point, actually. That's a great point. Yeah. So I guess they can do a lot of good in the world, those dolls. I just like the fact that, like, I just find it hilarious just how he had them set up just to make just so there'll be no mistake as to what he's doing with them, right? Just no mistake. Just, let's see. Right there. Just leaving no room for error here. So she knows exactly what he's doing with these things. Beautiful. Just beautiful. All right. All right. Well, that's almost 4 hours. I don't think we go that often 4 hours on a Tuesday night, but we did. All right. Out in the open. All right, everybody. So it looks like I pretty much kept up with the chat. So I want to thank everybody in the chat tonight. You guys are awesome. You guys are in good form tonight. I was happy to see. And you guys are what makes it fun, because if it wasn't for you guys, I'd be talking to a cold and different universe, and that would be depressing. So I'd stop doing it. But I don't, because you guys are there. Anyway, thanks, you guys. You guys are great. Everybody, what is it, Tuesday? Have a great rest of the week, and I'll see everyone on Friday night, 7:30 Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern time. See y'all then. Good night, everyone.